to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty, Haley, when you're ready.
Commissioner Shelley Bodley. Commissioner Scott Justinson.
Here.
Commissioner Heidi Murdoch.
Here.
Commissioner Justin Wright.
Here.
Chairman Kevin Polson.
Here.
City Council Member Mark Cottrell.
Here.
All righty, welcome everyone. So we'll go ahead, we'll get started. So I think, first of all, before I open the pre-public portion, we have two different public hearings today, correct? Okay, so there is a public portion at the start of the meeting. It is not the same as the later session. So this is something that's not on the agenda. If you want to come up, take a couple minutes and talk about that. We do have public hearings about 2 rezones, and if that's why you're here, there will be a different public open mic opportunity. But if you have something that's not on the agenda that you would like to address, now is your time. I see so many people moving for the mic that it's okay, no, nobody has any comments. Oh, we have one, good, please, join us right here. And if you could state your name, and then, yeah, we'll 3 minutes is kind of what we look for.
Frank Lever, 980 East Raymond Road. I'd like to address a broad discussion that affects the zoning that you're talking about, but not specific to it. A number of citizens have been before the City Council for now over 8 months, pressing for a general plan change, trail plan change, moderate income housing to be written properly. None of that's happened, despite the fact that the City Council has directed the Planning Commission to start on it. And I understand that you didn't get much direction early on, but I think that it's important that the city look before they pass any more zone changes, any more new zoning ordinances, and consider the fact that there ought to be a moratorium until all those things are taken care of so that the city develops in a meaningful way rather than some haphazard way. Additionally, as I look at the particular standard by which the new zone would be applied, it's quite a change from anything that's been done in the past. To allow staff members to do the negotiating with the developer and make the final determination of what that will look like turns the responsibility of the city over to an individual who is not a resident of the city. Has no real vested interest in the city like we do as citizens, and I just oppose that. And I just present the city that they have a, an obligation as members of the Planning Commission and as a council to represent us as citizens. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments before we get into our meeting? Alrighty, thank you. Okay, so we'll go ahead. We have a review and approval of our Planning Commission minutes from June 30th. I took a look at those. I can't remember if I made changes, but I did take a look. Anybody else?
I wasn't here, so I don't know if it was wrong.
Yeah, I reviewed and I didn't see any adjustments.
Neither did I.
Okay. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes. Actually, Haley, where'd Haley go? I can't remember, did I make red lines? It's been over a week. Anything past breakfast is gone. Okay, just, yeah, so if someone I had a few small changes, so maybe if someone wants to move to approve pursuant to those changes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the June 30th meeting per Kevin's red lines that he submitted.
And I will second it.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that carries. Okay, now our public hearing pertaining to 2 issues. I'll open, well, I probably need a motion to open the public hearing. Nope, thanks. Appreciate you. So I don't need a motion to open this first one. So 5.1, we are discussing a rezone of approximately 0.701 acres from RS12 to R3 and approximately 0.255 acres from C2 to R3. The property is located at 1207 South Main Street. And so, do we have a presentation on that first, and then we'll open up for comments? Okay, who will be presenting? Jeff, come on down.
Hi, Chris. So let me just present the information on this first project.
I think it's always on.
Now it's on. Is that good? Okay. So this first project, let me make sure I'm at the right one. Yeah, so this first project that you're looking at is right on Main Street at approximately 1207 South Main Street. The proposal is to rezone this property. It is a combination of C2 and RS12 to an R3 designation, which is a multifamily residential zone. That little strip of land on the left side is the C2, and the rest of it is currently zoned RS12. So this is 0.95 acres. I've got the applicant and developer here with me to help answer questions when we get to that point, Ryan Ivy. So what's before the Planning Commission tonight is to send them a recommendation on rezone of this property to the City Council. If the City Council denies the rezone, it's done. If they approve the rezone, the process is this will come back to the Planning Commission and it'll go through a site plan approval, at which time all of the details and things come together as part of what's going to be part of this project and the site plan. And ultimately, if the Planning Commission approves the site plan, then it's an approved project. And that's what determines the density of what this project is going to be, is ultimately what that site plan approval looks like. So the proposal here is for 24 units, and if I say anything wrong, Ryan, just grab me. 24 units. My understanding is that this building would retain ownership by the owner, and these would be rented units, so essentially apartments. It has some exterior parking around it. My understanding is that's all uncovered parking. And the building is proposed to be 4 stories. I said 3 stories in my staff report. That was a mistake. It's up to 4 stories. And they're allowed to have a 45-foot tall building. So if they had a flat roof, you could have a 4-story building. And I believe that you've brought some renderings that might be good for the Planning Commission to see. What else do I want to say about this? The project would contain 34 outdoor parking stalls. All of the access would be on Main Street, so one driveway access into the project. All of the access is onto Main Street. There is a 25% landscape requirement, which would be met by this site plan as what you're looking at. All utilities are available to the property. And there's an existing home on the property that would need to be removed to do some sort of project like this. This is all we have right now, is the site plan and some renderings of a similar type building that they want to pattern this after. The details of this project would come through that site planning process, the other details of the project, you know, sizing, massing, you know, what kind of finishes, things of that nature. I think it's important to note on both of these projects that we're going to discuss tonight that because this would be a rental project, it may or may not, depending on what the price point was, it may or may not meet state Utah affordable housing criteria. There's certain formulas and criteria we go through. It could do that. It may not. We don't know that right now. We don't know what those what this is going to rent for. However, it would show an effort by the city to create higher density projects. This would be the first time that the R3 zone has been used since those apartments were built on Main Street and Nichols Road.
And they're 3-story.
I believe that's
Yeah.
3-story, and there's 80 units there.
Yeah.
So this would be the first time that this zone has been proposed to have been used since that time, and I don't know when that project was built, 1990 something? Maybe it was the early 2000s?
I think 2000s, yeah.
Yeah, the Ivory
2000s.
Development.
Yeah,
Okay.
2005.
And so that's just the basic information. I'm going to turn some time over to Ryan if he wants to add anything to that.
Just really looking for ways that we can incorporate more moderate income opportunities for people to stay in Fruit Heights. Obviously, I'm an investor, so I'm looking at it as an investment. But I've got children that are in their teens and 20s, and there's just not any options, especially if they want to stay here close. So, you know, you look around Fruit Heights, and there's just really no opportunities, very little. The research I've done I think it was about 95% residential ownership and about 4.7% rental. So just a very small percentage compared to Davis County in general or Utah in general for rental opportunities.
Okay, that's all I have on that one. Do you want me to present the information on both projects, or do you want to hold the public hearing on this and then go to the other one?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
I think
All right.
let's separate them out.
Okay.
So you guys, any questions for either of them before we open up for? public
Just our rezone isn't saying the amount that, like, stories, any approval on any of that. It's just saying we're willing to rezone it and look into.
You're willing
Options,
to
yeah.
consider this parcel of property for this particular use,
Yeah.
the details of which to come through a site plan approval.
And I know the laws keep changing, so it's kind of fuzzy in my mind, but that will still come before us once, right? What, like in a finished product?
I
Because
don't
they
know.
keep changing every year.
I mean, we would likely bring it back as a finished product for a site plan approval.
Yeah.
Maybe hold a couple of meetings, but I want to make it clear that that is a planning commission decision at that point, not a city council one.
Yeah.
This is an administrative approval. The city council will make a final determination on the rezone. The planning commission will make a final determination on a site plan approval. But just know going into this that they're proposing 24 units.
Okay.
They couldn't, that's the maximum that would be allowed.
And then,
Jeff?
go ahead, Scott.
Question on that, on the R3 zone, which would allow for either apartments or condominiums or townhomes, correct?
Yeah.
The question being, in comparing it to the project on the corner of Nichols and Main that was done by Ivory with the 80-plus units in those were initially built in mind to be condos to be sold, but my understanding was there was some deal cut with the city. Those would be retained as rental units for a block of time, then they could be sold as individually owned units. Is that correct?
There was no deal cut with the city. They were approved as condominiums, flat out. And the city was led to believe that they would be sold as condominiums. The owner elected to retain them as rental units. They can be sold individually as a condominium at any time. That could happen tomorrow. But they've retained them all as rental properties from the time that they were built.
And the reason I ask is if they're all rented out right now, that's how they market that property. At what point they would turn into individually owned units in there, which would eliminate rental properties in Fruit Heights at this point on that corner, which is a lot of rental units. So I just kind of want to get a demographic of, you know, what rental units we have available in the city, what we don't have, and what the future holds for us there.
Okay.
Has Ryan considered, well, just ask Ryan whether to do the rental units or do townhomes in there?
I mean, we've considered all options, but I think I want to be forthright that the intention is rentals. I didn't want to flip-flop the other way. So, I mean, as far as rentals is what I have now, and that's what is in the portfolio is rentals, and so that's the goal, is to create a product. I live obviously just across the street here, and so I drive by that street, that house, the lot. I want to improve it. I want that to be something that when people drive in, that it's something it's an invitation to Fruit Heights. It's not you know, a vacant lot, or it's not, you know, what it is now. I want to improve the visual experience.
Thank you. Real quick, just as far as the approval process, is it 10-20-806 under the Utah Code that deals with the updates that the state has issued down as far as the speed and the process of review? And remind me, I'm glancing at this real quick. I haven't had a chance to digest it, but what is that process? I know it goes to the city, to you guys as the administrators first. It goes, when does it come to us again for the plan approval? Sorry, the plan approval part.
The site plan approval?
Yeah,
So you have to hold a public hearing on a proposed rezone and send a recommendation
sure,
to the city council. And then let's just say that gets approved.
Sure.
If it gets approved, it has to come back to the planning commission for a final site plan approval. Now, we don't know if that's 1 meeting or 10 meetings.
Sure.
I mean, we don't know how long that'll take or whatever, but if it does not get a rezone, it's done.
Right.
They can't do what they're proposing
Sure.
under the existing zoning. So you will see back a site plan approval process by which those details will be brought together.
Sure.
If it gets approved.
Right. So that'll be round two.
Does that
Okay.
answer your question?
Yeah, no, mostly I'm trying to, because they have changed the review process, and again, I'm getting ahead of myself, like we're talking zoning and then the subdivision
This
application.
does not go through a subdivision
So that won't-
process.
that's
No,
not gonna be
That's
applicable.
not in play here.
Got it, just making sure.
They're not subdividing property, they're proposing to change the use of the property.
Sure,
So that's what initiates the site plan process.
okay, perfect, yeah, that's all I had.
Let me just state one other thing. This is not, based on the earlier comment, the city could put a moratorium on not doing any rezoning. That's a maximum of 6 months. That does not apply to either one of these projects that you're going to look at tonight. They are already in the process, and they are going to have to be decided on. So there's no moratorium that derails what we're talking about tonight.
Sure.
It has to go through the process now.
Sure. Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead, we'll open up the public hearing. We do have 2 public hearings today, so we're going to try to be mindful of time. ask everyone to kind of limit their comments to 3 minutes. I would imagine there's going to be a lot of agreement on some of these comments. So to the extent that you have something that's very similar, perhaps to a previous comment, offer like solidarity, like I approve, good comment. If you have something different or something that might contribute differently to the conversation, then feel free to come up. And if you want to state your name, your address, and then get into your comment, that'd be great. Welcome you up to the lectern.
My name is Laureen Starkey. I live at, first of all, I'd like to wish you a good evening and tell you that I'm very grateful to be here. I live on 573 South, 350 East in Kaysville, but I would like to speak tonight regarding the proposed rezone at 1207 South Main. Even though I am in a different city, this property sits on the gateway and a shared border of our two cities. What happens on this stretch of Main Street affects all of us who drive, who walk, and who live along this corridor every day. My request is that the commission tonight deny the recommendation for the R3 zoning because based on two critical planning factors. Number one, because Fruit Heights today is actively working its 2026 general plan update, permanently changing the gateway, the parcel to a high-density multifamily residential before your citywide master plan is finalized could be considered entirely premature. What if this commission were to pause the major land use shifts until its updated community vision is officially established? Number two, the loss of the commercial buffer. If the C2 commercial zone is eliminated and replaced by a 10-unit per acre multifamily complex, will it not create an immediate, harsh transition against the existing lower density neighborhoods? In Kaysville, recently, we have faced very similar pressures. We are discovering that the best outcomes can arise from careful negotiation rather than a rubber stamp of maximum density. The recent projects in our city have been the 125-year-old Presbyterian Church on 80 East and the equestrian properties in Sunset and 550 South. At this moment, they are achieving a general acceptance because the leaders of our city, the staff, the neighbors, and the developers have worked very patiently to find a compromise that respects the land's existing character. As a close neighbor, I would respectfully ask, what if Fruit Heights were to slow down the process and apply similar principles of arbitration to negotiate an appropriate layout that protects the present land zoning character? We applaud appropriate development. We also hope that Fruit Heights will choose to be a good neighbor to the surrounding residential ecosystem. Thank you for your time and your dedication to our shared community and for including these remarks in an official record. Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you, Ryan, for being here and being willing to at least listen to us. Commissioners and councilmen, my name is Matt Benson. I live in Apple Acres in lot number 10. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of my family, as well as those who don't think they have a voice to strongly oppose this request. We know what the proposal is. We know what the zoning is supposed to look like. However, attempting to wedge a multifamily density housing facility into a footprint of less than 1 acre immediately adjacent to a single-family neighborhood and a single-family home lot fundamentally contradicts the character of this neighborhood and this area. As a first responder with over 30 years in public safety and serving as an emergency manager, I look at this through a strict lens of infrastructure, access, and safety. Squeezing these units here injects significant traffic and overflow parking into a highly condensed footprint. The localized ingress, egress, and line of sight demands create life safety and congestion hazards that our current residential streets were never engineered to safely absorb. Think for a minute during the summer when Cherry Hill is open. How many of your kids or grandkids walk along that street? It's just one more thing they have to watch for. Has a traffic study been done yet? If it has, I'd sure like to see it. Has anybody talked to Farmington City Fire about how they're going to respond if there is a structure fire there? How about Kaysville City, since they back up Farmington? If you talk to the sheriff's office, I can go on if I need to. I anticipate that the argument here is that the rezone will help satisfy the moderate income request, as we've already discussed. However, with the accessory dwelling units already allowed in the residential zoning, we have housing goals organically baked in. We don't need to spot zone an isolated hazardous island to check a compliance box for an out-of-character multifamily bottleneck. Now, kudos to Mr. Ivy for wanting to make an improvement into our community. You know, who doesn't want to see improvement? However, right time, right place, right circumstances. Therefore, my family, and probably many in this room, strongly oppose this request. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Douglas Wheelwright. I live at 1897 North Frost Drive. I'm here at the request of many of my neighbors. First of all, as a former city employee for a long time, not this city, I want to thank the members of the commission and council for your commitment and service to the community. It's extremely valuable and sets us apart as a nation of how we treat each other. Became of this zone change request yesterday, and my immediate thought was to look at the website, see what the site plan said, what the staff report said. I did that. Then I went to the master plan, the 2023 existing land use master plan of the city. It was developed by Landmark Design, which is a professional design firm I'm very familiar with, at great cost and time. I'm not sure why there's 3 years later, they're proposing a change to the master plan. It's an expensive process. Most cities I'm familiar with, it's 10 to 20 years between master plan development and adoption. So we've heard a lot about the low-cost housing. That may be it. But let's focus on the existing land use master plan, existing zoning, which is the current law until the law's changed. The existing zoning map, 2.2, shows this property zoned as third acre, single-family lots, with a little strip of vacant land in front of in front of the mobile home community, manufactured home community. 2.4, which is the future land use map, which is supposed to be the guide for the city and the planning commission to consider changes in the existing zoning. That calls for this area to be, the future land use map 2.4 says commercial development for all of Cherry Hill, including these properties in the single-family house to the south, with a recreation-oriented node designation for urban design. I think all that was well thought out. The goals and policies for your existing land use master plan are extensive in making recommendations how to consider zone changes in compliance with the master plan. This development doesn't meet any of those requirements. So my conclusion is that the zoning request is incompatible with the existing community. It's of course incompatible with the existing zoning, hence the request to change the zone. And it's not consistent with the current master plan of future land use. So until there's a change to those things, I think this is way premature. Now, Utah State planning enabling legislation has always linked zoning regulations and land use regulations with the master plan requirement. In fact, you can't have zoning if you don't have a future land use master plan that deals with infrastructure, with land use, with urban design, all those things. Apparently, and it's been referred to by others, on July 2nd, your city council authorized the publication of an RFP for solicitation of proposals from design professionals to develop a new future land use master plan. Well, as I said, this is surprising that this has happened 3 years after you just adopted. I think it would be reasonable for the Planning Commission to recommend to the City Council denial of this application. The city's under no obligation whatsoever to upzone this property to high-density residential. A comment was made that this density of this development was 10 units per acre. It's twice that. It's 20, almost 26 units per acre. If you break that down into lot size per unit, it's 1,735 square feet of lot area for every one of those units, when the surrounding area is third acre zoning, basically. I think that no decision on this should be made by the city. No affirmative decision should be made by the city until the future land use master plan has gone through and considered all the relevant factors of the community before making such a substantial deviation. I, for one, would not like to see a 45-foot high building 15 feet away from single-family homes. It'll cast Cherry Hill or Apple Acres in a winter freeze zone because of block of solar access by the height of the building. Cast it into that development. I just think there's lots of problems with the site plan, and the use is inappropriate. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Thank you for your time. Mark Taylor. I live across the street on 982 Mary Margaret. We come out of the lane there right where this development's going to be, so traffic is already terrible. I speak in opposition to this rezone. I think spot zoning land in a community can be a little risky because then that opens a can of worms to what else is going to go in on whatever lot is available. The Ivory development is a completely different story. It was a big vacant piece of property where it didn't impact any of the adjoining neighbors. This one will. This is a large apartment building surrounded by owner-occupied single-family dwellings. None of the Apple Acres are allowed to be rental units. They're all owner-occupied. So this puts a rental unit spot zoned in the middle of residential owner-occupied communities. Another thing that's concerning when you look at the site plan, Fruit Heights City has a light ordinance regarding errant light and light bleed on adjoining properties. This property currently is a rental, has a very long history of police activity. And so, putting another unit that's rentals, if that has additional concerns of police activity, it'll be well lit. You can't well light something like this 15 or 20 feet from a property and expect that there's not going to be any light pollution on the adjoining property. So I don't think there's any possible way to put this type of a development and not have light pollution under the adjoining properties, which would be in violation of Fruit Heights City ordinance. The other thing, one other comment on the spot zoning. This is not an individual that lives on the property. This is an investor trying to make a change that has zero impact on his personal home, on his personal community. It has an impact on the surrounding community, surrounding homeowners. So I would recommend that you oppose this rezoning, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Sam Paget. Thank you for having this meeting this evening. I live at 1027 South Oxford. I live approximately a quarter of a mile from this. I'm representing my neighborhood in Fruit Heights primarily. My wife and I spent considerable time going through our neighborhood once we found out about this project and asking how people felt. And we had people sign a petition requesting a no vote to not approve this multifamily. And in that short time since I found out, Saturday afternoon really, we've gathered 66 signatures right here with many more people who have expressed displeasure. Some of the comments that we received actually during this time, there was only one person of all of the houses we went to that said they would not sign. And there was one person who wanted to think about it and never got back to us. Some of the comments that people made as we went door to door was about, has been mentioned, police activity over the last several years since it's become a rental unit. And if it's that much police activity with just a few units, what will it be like with multi more people living there? I don't know what the screening process is for those who rent there now, but they're not really, I don't want to downgrade anybody or that, but it's sure been, I've lived in the area for over 30 years, and there's been a lot of police activity in the last 4 or 5 years. I don't know where before I didn't see any police activity there. Obviously, the city's trying to appease or whoever higher density and single or lower rents and stuff like that. I don't know for sure. I couldn't say, but I don't know that Mr. Ivy's children will ever live here. Maybe they will. But my request, and all of these people who signed this, their request is to keep it as is, as zoned as single family. It's been mentioned that the idea was to upgrade the property, the looks of the property. Well, I don't know how long the current owners had it, but I think there's been ample time to upgrade the yard or the looks. It doesn't look the way it was when it was a single-family property and not a rental unit. And so thank you for your time, and thank you for considering.
Thank you. All right, so any other takers? And we do have a second public hearing, so to the extent you overlap with some of the comments, maybe keep it focused on any new other ideas. That would be helpful. Is this the same one that Sam?
Yeah,
Okay,
awesome.
thank you.
That's the original copies.
Perfect. We can get copies of it so that we have the originals still. Okay.
Thank you for your time. I'm sure that at times it's a thankless job doing what you're doing, and so I say thank you to you for your service. My name is Keith Lloyd, and I've lived in Fruit Heights for 67 years. The 1207 South Main property that is in question was my family home that I grew up in. As a matter of fact, I find it quite ironic that both my dad's home and my Uncle Reed's home are both being discussed on the same night to be torn down. It's kind of crazy. I built my home next to my parents' home 40 years ago and have enjoyed the quiet bedroom community that is described on the Fruit Heights City website. I'm afraid my bedroom is about to be uprooted. 60 years ago, my father and my mother, along with I and my brothers and sisters, started Cherry Hill. I'm sorry. I've been to many zoning and city council meetings through the years, and I have usually left those meetings happy and proud to be a resident of Fruit Heights City. But I'm sorry to say that on some occasions, I've been sad and disappointed. So I'm hoping that tonight I'll be proud with what you guys decide. During my stewardship over Cherry Hill, I've had the opportunity to build a pirate ship, a mining town that blows up every 30 minutes, castle turrets, and two 400-foot dragons, something most people don't get to say. And it's been fun. I've had a blast doing it. As I built each of these, I spent months not looking at a piece of paper, but walking about the new area, looking at it from all directions in my mind's eye. Things had to fit. They had to mix well with everything else around them. In my opinion, this proposed 4-story apartment building does not fit or mix well with its surroundings. All of the existing homes around it are 1 or 2 stories. This is not a vacant lot next to a Maverick gas station. It is an existing single-family home surrounded by other single-family homes. It feels like someone is trying to pound a square peg into a round hole. If this 4-story apartment building goes in, people for years to come will wonder whose watch was this allowed to happen? Whose watch was it allowed to happen? This is your watch tonight. I implore you to not allow this zoning change. If you do recommend that this zoning change occur, I plan on tackling this like I did all my Cherry Hill building projects. I will place 2 45-foot story poles on my property line and 2 along the Apple Acres fence line where the approximate corners of this building will be. I'm not going to put any on Ryan's property. They'll be off. They'll be on the property lines. When this is completed, I will see that group texts are sent out to the Farmington and Fruit Heights neighbors so that they can come and visualize just how bad this giant box is going to look. And I guarantee you it'll be crazy to see those poles in the air. This is what I've done at Cherry Hill many, many times. I've stood things up. I've done crazy things to try and figure out how it was going to look. And that's what you do when you're building dragons and stuff like that, weird things, you know? And so I'm used to this kind of stuff. Anyhow, I will invite the mayor and the city council members to meet me on site to discuss how this looks to them. I'm hoping they will take me up on that offer if we have to come to that. To close my remarks, I would like to make reference to a pretty significant document. It states that each of us have an unalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And happiness is really, truly what we're all after and what we want to achieve. So I respectfully ask the Planning Commission, please please don't let one man's pursuit of money override an entire community's pursuit of happiness. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Todd Stevenson. As Keith was talking, it reminded me of we've been friends with the Lloyds for, I don't know why I get teary, I'm sorry. We've been friends with the Lloyds for 40 years or so, and I remember one time going to their house. They lived in a little trailer on Cherry Hill, and Tammy was there, but Keith wasn't. We were visiting. He comes walking in. He was completely blue. I mean, covered with blue dust, because he'd been sanding the blue slide out there. That was their first thing that they put in over at Cherry Hill. So, anyway, I appreciate the decorum here tonight. I appreciate the cogent comments that have been made. And a lot of them are things that I was planning on speaking on, but there was two things I wanted to mention. As I was researching this, I try to understand. I was in city government for 14 years, and but it's been a while, so I'm out of touch with what's going on. So I was reading about the R3 zone and trying to understand that. And I noticed a couple of things that really bothered me about it. And I think it's something that you should be concerned about. There is the R3 zone or zoning ordinance talks about two different areas where one is an area, it talks about area map A and area map B, or area A, area B. One is a 25 unit per acre, the other one is 10 units per acre. And it says, please refer to the general plan for the map of where these areas are. There are no maps. So I don't know how on earth you can rezone to R3 if you don't even know what the rules are for an R3 zone. And so, because it's incomplete, it's not in the general plan. This may come back to Frank Lever's comments about some of these things need to be reworked and relooked at because it's incomplete. And so that's one thing. The general plan makes some vague references to an R3 zone. The planning map, as far as I can read it, doesn't say anywhere where an R3 zone can be. So that's a problem, a major problem in my opinion. You can't zone to something if you're not following the rules and you don't know and there are no rules written. The other thing that I want to mention is, like I said, I was in city government for a long time, and every 2 years they would hold, the Utah League of Cities and Towns would hold training sessions for the newly elected officials, and I tried to attend every single one of those. And the first thing, we met with the attorneys, and the first thing they would say to us is, you can't do one thing for one guy and a different thing for another guy. You'll get yourself into legal hot water if you're being inconsistent with how you're making decisions. So, and in looking at that, there was a similar case that came before the council and the planning commission a couple of years ago where they wanted to put an R3 zone in the middle of an R12 zone. And this planning commission recommended the council to deny it, and then the city council denied that option or that proposal. And one of the things that, as I read through the minutes of the city council meetings, one of the complaints they had was that there was no maps describing where the R3 zone could be. And there was a number of other things that they talked about why they denied that zone. My point is you can't, you deny one, you can't, almost exactly the same thing, approve the other one without getting yourself into trouble. And if you approve this, then you're opening yourself up to a very bad precedent where everybody in the city can go around, and if they're in the middle of an R12 zone and they want to put in an apartment building, tear down their thing, they can build what they want to do. And that would be a major mess. So those two things are my points, that you've got to be very, very careful on what you approve, because you can get yourself into big trouble. Thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty.
I'm Cindy Roybal. I live at 1267 West, 1875 North. That's in Farmington, and even though it's Farmington, we live in a triangle with 3 cities. I'm across the street, basically. I'm just west of Russin Brothers, and we had a very similar application in our city. I too have sat in your seat. I was on the Planning Commission in Farmington City and also on the City Council. I understand that, this is long, hard decisions that you make. I implore you to look, something that wasn't addressed, I'll just touch briefly, is parking. And they have only allowed 1.5 cars per unit. I don't know any family that has 1.5 cars, let alone, I don't know how big the units are, but if there's a couple living there, they're always gonna have 2 cars. They can't even provide parking, and if the overflow, they can't park on Main Street, and I would dare say that the overflow will be going into Cherry Hills parking lot or around the corner into Apple Acres, and they haven't provided that. The second thing I wanted to say is we had a very similar application right next to our house. We live on acre lots. It was large residential acres, and they requested a 9-unit townhouse be put on that 1 acre lot, and the Planning Commission denied it because it had, as you need to do, had to be upsized in the zoning. So I would encourage you, actually, at the end, the Planning Commission denied it. They appealed it to the City Council. They also denied it. Then they came back and applied for 4 units, and there was a compromise because, anyway, they compromised to 4 units, and ultimately, they still haven't built on it, but it's going to only be 3 units on that 1 acre lot. And so I would implore you to have the courage to deny this and make them do their homework and do something that is actually more conducive to the neighbors and to our community, not just Fruit Heights, but I would implore you to be a good neighbor to Kaysville and Farmington City too, because we're all neighbors and we're all in this together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Michael Heyer. I live at 1148 East Hidden Valley Drive. I would like to stand in support of moderate income housing. I think it's very important to our community. When I bought our home, we paid $340,000 for our home. It is probably worth near double that now, and that is something that is not only shocking, but is concerning, that the opportunities that I had, growing a family, will not be available to people in the future. And I've lived throughout my life, I've been in very poor situations. I fortunately find myself in able to take care of my family, and lower income housing and people who can only afford lower income housing are not criminals. They're not bad people. They don't bring police activity by themselves. There are disfavorable people, and that is true whether you are low income or high income. How that looks may be a little bit different on the outside, But I think in general, it's a good idea for the city to consider housing that is more accessible financially to younger families. That said, I do speak in opposition to the zoning to C3 or to R3. I think that it is a very large gap between what our current residential zoning is and R3. There should be less dense multifamily zoning available. Going from single-family home to 25 units per acre is a really big gap. Even 10 acres, 10 units per acre is a really big gap. I don't think that this is cohesive with the broader community. That said, I do think that you could potentially squeeze 5 units per acre or something similar to that and have it be a cohesive experience and still have moderate income housing in the city. Thanks.
Thank you.
Dale Kunkel, 1624 East Old Lake Lane. Probably maybe the 4th or 5th least popular person in this room today, and I'm completely okay with that. The last time there was this many people in the room, it was private property owners who wanted chickens telling other private property owners who didn't want chickens what they should do. So that brings up a point. It's been mentioned, the document that sits behind you and the rights of, what needs to be done to one should be done to the other. And just remind everybody, as your private property ownership, the rights of the many do not outright outweigh the rights of the few. Private property owners, which many of us are here, should have autonomy to, within the guidelines of the law, exercise our private property the way that we see fit. And I believe that document was intended to guarantee such rights in that way. Obviously, I have 2 thoughts to finish up. One is around the general plan. There's much hullabaloo around the general plan. I would remind the Planning Commission and the fine residents and adjacent neighbors here that we had an election recently that highly focused on the general plan. And one candidate wanted the general plan completely changed and was angry about the way the general plan was. The other candidate wasn't so sure, but thought that it could stand and move forward. The candidate that was against the general plan lost by over 200 votes. The voters in Fruit Heights City said, this general plan thing seems like a nothing burger. We continue to make this an issue, and the voters didn't really vote for that. My final thought is, I have 6 children. 5 of them are adults. My oldest child in the last year was able to acquire her home and a mortgage in Ogden. And raise your hand right now if you've done a mortgage in the last 5 years. I'll bet not very many, okay? So she purchased a Baptist church, slab on grade, 900 square foot that she turned into a studio home. She was able to get it at $250,000. She took the construction loan out for $60,000. Her mortgage with primary mortgage insurance is $3,400 a month. So just consider, I doubt very many people in this room even have a mortgage that side. That is what the up and coming generations are looking at. So when we're talking about moderate income housing and trying to make space for children, the closest I could get my daughter to me is Ogden. That's what she could afford. And so you want your children to be here, maybe you're more affluent than I am and you can help, your kids out and they can move right into a $500,000, $600,000 or $700,000 home close here in Kaysville or Fruit Heights. But the reality is they can't. That inventory is sitting on the MLS, not being purchased. This is the only way to provide opportunities for other people to be able to live close to us, adjacent to us. And it doesn't have to be this huge cultural shift or this big change. Because if you have good people living here, it doesn't matter how close they live to each other.
Thank you. Alrighty. So I think we've got some great comments in. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on this first zoning issue.
Do you want to go?
What's that?
Did we open it with a?
He said we were good without voting to open it. Do we need a vote to close it? Okay.
I
Thank
vote
you.
to
Thanks for keeping us
close.
straight.
I vote to close the public hearing on the rezone. Well, this is when I should wear glasses. Of 1207 South Main Street.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So yeah, first of all, thanks everyone for coming, and stay tuned. We have another public hearing in just a moment. But I'm always appreciative of people coming, engaging in the community, engaging with this process. It's stressful. There's a lot of big emotions, and I feel that, and I appreciate that you guys came, and there's been a lot of respect, and I appreciate that. Dale, I'm among the unpopular group. I don't think multifamily is a bad MF word. I don't. I think there's opportunities to try to provide more affordable housing in our community. I don't know exactly, as far as the plan, that's something that we're gonna have to look closely to, but I think in terms of locations within the city where there are opportunities to include something like an R3 or an R16, I think this is a candidate. I understand a lot of the concerns about the size of the structure, about a traffic study, about these related issues. And I think those are conversations that apply more toward the plan, once the plan is presented, and figuring out what fits that space in the surrounding areas. So personally, I think we're all seeing different church congregations being changed, boundaries being changed because we're losing young families. We don't have a lot of young families in our community like 10, 15 years ago. A lot of elementary schools in our school district are also facing boundary changes, facing limited enrollment compared to past years. I think something I try to keep my mind towards is, what is this community going to look like in 10, 20 years if younger families can't afford to be here? My grandparents had a home in Glendale they bought in the 60s. A lot of young families, a lot of activity, a lot of schools. But by the time they passed, it was a community that had no young families, and it impacted the entire city, impacted the values of those homes because the homes weren't kept up and were not affordable. But I want to hear the thoughts of my fellow members here.
I'll give you my thoughts. I appreciate the engagement as well. That is wonderful. As was mentioned, I think last time we had this many people, it was about chickens. And so it's great to see everybody out. And it was, I appreciate seeing the different sides, right? I will say, so my experience, I live on this side of 89 as well. I used to live on the other side of 89. There's a project that went in 2 doors down from our house that we felt like we didn't get a lot of notice on. And so we sold and we moved. We stayed in the city, but we've been party to things that we didn't agree with in the past as well with our family. I too, so with the requirements of the state pushing down pretty heavily in a lot of discussion that we've had recently, there is a need that the city take some steps to allow some sort of multifamily housing or additional higher density housing And like Kevin said, we're basically built out. Fruit Heights doesn't have a lot of opportunity. Based on driving past this lot daily, I assume that this would be something similar to Orchard Farms, as far as look and as far as how it interacted with the neighborhood. I drive Nichols regularly. I don't see traffic on Nichols, even though Orchard Farms is right there. This is on Main Street. Even with Cherry Hill being open, in the summer, I don't feel like it's a ton of traffic that's added to Main Street, with that Cherry Hill. I do. Yeah. Yeah.
Point of order, stick to the facts.
I understand there are definitely strong emotions here. Justin's here in good faith. We're all here in good faith. Just, accept that we're hearing you out. We're considering all the different issues. Carry on, Justin.
I think, I do believe that it would be an improvement to what's currently on the lot. I do believe that. A couple comments that were made that I do appreciate and acknowledge and believe that there's opportunity to look at. I think 4 stories might be too tall for that area, personally. And so I think potentially, and what was made, the comment that was made earlier is that this will come back again, right? We're not approving a 4-story unit right now. It's not being approved to 24 units right now. It's just a rezone change. That's all it is. And really this body is not making a approval. It's just making a recommendation. It's going to go to the city council, and the city council is going to make that decision. But I believe that there potentially is opportunity to limit and not do 4 stories. I also believe that parking, I agree that 1.5 parking spots per unit is probably not enough, unless you've got a single person in there, which I would assume that there will be more than one individual, more than one vehicle in most of these units. And we don't have, although there is public transportation on Main Street, I assume it's not going to be used very frequently with those that are potentially living in these units. Okay. And that's a good point. So theoretically, there could be, yeah. So. And then I also agree that there's, we have other, when looking at the map, the zoning map, this property is encompassed by commercial, by C2 property. I acknowledge, and there is R112, there RS12, there's also R110 and R18, very close by as well. But it is fully encompassed by commercial, by C2 as well. So I wouldn't necessarily, I guess, be opposed to a rezone.
Okay, thank you. And it was Scott or Heidi?
Scott can go first in this case. Gentlemen before ladies.
Couple of things on here, and I appreciate the stance that Justin and Kevin have taken on this. I look out in the crowd here, and I'm from Kaysville, grew up in Kaysville, and I see people I grew up with, and next door too. The flavor and the atmosphere that Kaysville Fruit Heights has always presented is a bedroom community and a rural community, and so I totally get that is the flavor that people want to maintain here. On the flip side of that, on being able to make use and be in control of your own property that you have owned within zoning standards and city master plans, my concern is, and as it was pointed out, the current master plan that is in place, city plan does not have this property in this kind of use. The other thing I would have in concern is what Justin brought out, is the parking. There's not adequate parking for even a one-bedroom. If you have a married couple, you're going to have 2 vehicles on this property. So in deciding whether this gets a zone change or not, there needs to be some redraw of what is best for this property, per my view. So at this point, as far as the rezone, I am still considering and would like to hear some more input.
Thank you.
Does that mean it's me? I don't know, how long have I been on the planning commission? 2 years? So I did land development back east. That's what I got into, and that's why I joined the planning commission. I built multiple homes here in Fruit Heights. I've lived here for 15 years. I walk every single day with my husband, so if you're out driving around, you see us, and I am always looking at lots and thinking of best use and what things should look like. And we walk along Farmington Main Street a lot, and Farmington's a gorgeous community. I have tons of family, friends that live there. Their master plan does not allow for much change on the Main Street because they want to maintain this historic feel, which I get. Like, it seems ideal, amazing. Living on the East Coast, I lived in DC, did land development there. The idea is to keep things how they were, but the reality is when homes get 40, 50 years old, they become rental units, they become run down, they become junkyards. There's a lot of properties on Farmington Main Street that, in my view, I would do different things with, that are not allowed because they're master plan. So when I came onto the planning commission, I had issues with the master plan. If you go look at the recordings of the meetings, I just said, this isn't done well. We have just left pieces of land and given no use for it. At that time, another rezone came before us, and we're at a point in our city where we're going to be do infill or land, infill development. Basically, existing homes get torn down, and that's when it gets crazy and messy. And that's what we have, I think, talked about every month for 2 years, even before now it's looking into reopen up. We have had concerns about that because R13 wasn't on the plan. Other things, we have all these requirements, but they weren't addressed on the master plan. And big pieces of land that will eventually be developed, there was no general plan use for. So I'm excited for it to reopen because I think that needs to be re-looked at, because I don't agree with spot zoning. I don't want things to look, out of place. I think there's a great way to do things. I have really mixed feelings on this. I don't really want to say my opinions because I don't want, I think people have a right to develop it. I think 4 stories is too tall. I know Ryan, I've told him that myself. I don't know if that fits in. I think, I just probably think it's too tall. Not enough parking. Is it out of place? Maybe not for that area. Do I feel for the Lloyds that live next door? Yes. If I lived in that house, I totally 1,000% feel you. That's why I just feel very torn. And I know people hate that we say the state has all these requirements, but they do. There's major pressure, and the more cities fight against it, there is some crazy stuff going on. If you want to be have spare time, go follow the laws that try to get passed. Go follow the bills that people are writing to where we would have no control. It just is what it is, and it is a free-for-all. That is the kind of stuff that's coming. So it's a dance of listening to landowners, which I 1,000% get, and following a state mandate. And again, these young families, like my neighborhood, we had 115 kids 10 years ago, and now we have 4 in my neighborhood. There's no children at all. And there probably won't ever be in my neighborhood. They're just too expensive. And it's sad. We need kids. You have to have a regrowth in a community. So it's a fine balance. Do I think 4 stories is too tall? Probably, but we have to start somewhere. We have to do something. I don't know what that means, but there we are.
Can I ask a question, Jeff? Jeff, can I ask you about moderate income housing? I assume that, and totally an assumption on my part, but I would assume it would be a stretch that something like this would qualify for the moderate income housing requirements for the state.
It would qualify if the rental rate qualified as a rental rate that is considered a qualifying affordable by individuals that are meet the moderate income housing requirement. So if, and I might be saying this wrong, but I think that number's around 2,100, 2,200 a month, something like that. If this rented for that or below, then yes, it absolutely would be considered a moderate income housing unit. If it rents for $3,000 a month or something like that, no. If the rental rate, because it's not an owned unit, it's the rental rate that applies in this case.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that is right now.
That's the hard thing with the laws, is they pass a law that you have to have moderate, I mean, you have no control over a developer sells a home for a townhome, rents something, there's no control at that end. That's why it's hard.
Sure. All right, any other thoughts before we entertain a vote?
Are we going to entertain a vote, or are we going to go through the next public hearing first?
My preference is just to kind of block them off, just get done with one, move on to the next one. That way we don't have to kind of refer back to our notes on the different items.
Are they not the same thing?
Yeah, I held my comments.
There will be a public hearing on the second, on this, what is it?
Lloyd Road.
Lloyd
It's on
Road.
Lloyd Road.
Same thing, same development, just two different lots. They're the same comments.
So,
Yeah, it's,
yes, there will be a public hearing on that piece of property, for sure. So, unless there's other discussion points among the commission, I will entertain a motion one way or the other. Well, I guess there could be three possible motions, even more. A vote yes, a vote no, and sometimes a recommendation of some sort of hybrid, but I will entertain a motion.
I think it's important, though, to know what is being voted on is not this proposed use of that land. It's
Correct.
strictly
The zoning. Yep, it's the request for an R3 zone.
yeah.
So would anyone like to make a motion?
What if I want to make a motion that we vote on both at the end, even though that's not what you want to do?
That's okay.
Just so we can
Mull over it. I'm okay with that.
okay.
Are you guys open to that?
Sure.
Make sure to write your notes down and your thoughts right now. I don't want you coming back and saying I forgot what I was thinking 20 minutes ago. Okay, so let's go ahead and again, I don't need a vote to open this new public hearing, right? So public hearing, this is specific, so first of all, we are going to go and we'll talk about the rezone at 1112 South Lloyd Road. Jeff, you're on this one as well? You're a lucky guy this day, huh?
Yeah, real lucky.
You drew straws? Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Okay.
One sec. Yes, sir. Is it a question just about procedure or just?
I think it's not appropriate to not vote in front of the crowd that came to hear you.
We will vote during this meeting for sure.
You're going to delay it, and most of these people.
Well, everyone's welcome to stay, but I promise you we will vote on it. We have to, and we will.
Can I ask one other question?
Sure.
I thought your planner said that it was your decision, not the planning commission's decision. It was going to be you guys that were.
That's where the planning commission.
So we make a recommendation to the city council.
I think that's a good point, though, but if we may,
So-
but to clarify,
Yeah.
I think it's good, great question. To clarify, I believe it's if the planning commission makes a recommendation to not approve, it will not go to city council.
Well, they can take it, still take it to the
override.
city council.
Okay,
If the council votes no, it's done.
yeah.
Okay.
But this is the only public hearing.
Yeah.
The council doesn't hold a public hearing for it. This is the only public hearing.
If the council rezones it, it will come back to the planning commission for site plan approval.
Thank you.
So that's the part that they would do.
Sure.
again.
And thank you for your questions. I appreciate that. Jeff?
Okay, I'm going to invite Rick Skadden, who is the developer of the property. Just so you know, this is the face but behind the project. It's not me. I'm the staff. So this project is, again, up on 1112 South Lloyd Road, not very far, I mean, just directly east of the other project, on the other side of the block. So this request is to rezone 0.84 acres from, that is zoned entirely commercial, C2, to the R3 zone. And what is proposed on this property is a 20-unit townhome project. It's different from Ryan's proposal in that the intent of this project would be that these units would be for sale. So they would be sold as individual units, 20 individual units. And they would be approved as townhomes. This project is, I mean, this is a sketch plan of what these things could look like. They're essentially 3-story units. The bottom level is a 2-car garage on every unit. So every unit has a 2-car garage underneath it, and then 2 stories of living space above it. This essentially, again, maxes out the maximum that could be asked for. The maximum density, if it was allowed on this project, to be 21 units. He's asking for 20. I think, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Again, the city requirements would require 31 parking stalls on this project. That's met with just the garage parking, but they've also indicated that they've got some guest parking, and I'll let them describe where that's at on the property. Again, you've got a 25% landscape requirement, which they believe could be met. The one nice thing about this project is you would have street access off 2 different roads, Lloyd Road and Hidden Valley Drive, which is always nice to have a second access onto the property. Again, there's an existing home on the property that would need to be removed. All of the utilities are available at this property as well. We don't know what these properties are going to sell for, but I highly doubt they're going to meet the state's definition of affordable housing, but would likely.
Still 450?
Roughly 450. I don't think they're going to sell for that.
Someone needs to update their affordable housing
But
code.
Mr. Skadden can discuss that in more detail. What it would do is be a step in the right direction. I've said this a number of times. It'd be nice for the city to have a couple of wins, a couple of projects that they could put together that were of a higher density composition. This would be a step in that direction, but not likely meet the state's definition of affordable housing. I don't think any project in this city is ever going to do that, but the property values are just too high. But we don't set those numbers. They're just placed upon us. I think there's value in the fact that this is a for-sale product. The name of the game and the idea is to create more affordable housing for home ownership. And this is a step in that direction. I think it's also worth noting, and this on this project, is that this property is zoned commercial. There is multifamily housing is an allowed use on commercial property. If they went that route, and they're going the rezone route because that's what we suggested they do, is to get the right use on the right property. But if they went commercial on this property, they would be allowed to put 13 units, according to my calculation, 13 units on this property without anybody's approval. They're just, that'd be guaranteed now. They're proposing 20, and so that's why they're going through this process. But I think that's important to know that you can have multifamily housing on commercially zoned property. That's probably all I've got to say initially. Oh, I want to say one more thing. It's not realistic. This is the very first time that this project has been put forth in front of the city. It's not realistic for these guys to go in and do millions of dollars in design if they don't know whether or not they're going to get the property zoned. So these are preliminary. And like I said before, a lot more detail has to go into a project to get it approved. But at this level, you can't expect that detail. They don't even have to show anything except a blank piece of paper, but it's not fair to the public for them to come in here and you have no idea what they're looking at. So I always say, you guys need to put this together. The city needs to see that, so that you got an idea about what you're proposing before you can make a decision on the rezone piece of it. But there's a lot of detail. Don't worry about architecture and density and traffic patterns. All of that stuff will come together at the proper time. None of that work's been done at this point. Okay, you want to, Rick? You got the floor.
Thank you, commission members, and I respect everyone here tonight, and I understand the difficulty of facing change. Just a few notes I made down. I think Fruit Heights has earned its reputation as one of Utah's most desirable communities because of the beautiful neighborhoods and a commitment to maintaining a high quality of life, and I understand that. We understand that residents being cautious about growth. Growth is a challenging thing to do it where you're going to make everyone accept what you've seen. I've done this for years, and a lot of times there's a lot of opposition up front. And when something turns out that's very desirable, then later on it becomes a non-issue for them because it's a product that brings a lot of curb appeal. Our goal is to always do attractive neighborhoods with high-quality architecture that would lend to a long-term community character. I've got other notes. We talked about moderate income. Personally, I think we'll be very close to the price of the moderate income housing for this product. There will be a little variety in there. There will be a couple units. We've had great success with smaller, maybe a 2-bedroom unit instead of all 3-bedroom units, where they will definitely be under that figure that the state's put out in front of you. I won't take a lot of time because a lot of people I'm sure want to have comments. I think one thing we do is we try to do a quality over quantity, and you look at that and you go, well, I have a hard time believing that, but it's a very tasteful. We're actually, the requirement for the open space is 9,000 feet, and actually our engineered plans is showing about 13,000, so we're even above that number. I use this term a lot, creating housing for the missing middle. I believe the first project would maybe be a first step in housing, and I believe most of the houses in this area would be up the upper end of that. So the missing middle is something that someone could come in, moderately afford this project, and have the pride of ownership. I think this product speaks well to that, and I do believe that Fruit Heights is a great place for people to want to live, and I understand why they would. And hopefully we can provide them with opportunities that maybe wouldn't come along otherwise. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. If not, I will say again, I respect everyone here tonight and their opinions and understand the feelings that come with that.
I did have one quick question. It says 20, but unless I can't count, I count 19.
Yeah, the lines were drawn wrong.
You can't
It
count
is
them.
20. The reason is there's 2 small units out of the 20 that I talked about that have been a very big hit for us, a popular. Oftentimes they sell first, but it'd be just a smaller 2-bedroom. So it wasn't drawn completely, and as they mentioned, this was kind of quick and kind of, but
there are
the ask
20.
It was
would
like
be
a
20.
concept.
Yeah, this is a concept. But I noticed that myself. It shows 19, but
Do you currently own the property, or is it like
No.
under
Under contract.
contingent to rezone?
Yes.
and approval? Okay.
And we're spending money trying to give a product so that we can make a presentation that I don't want to, I mean, that'd be very close to what you would see us come in and apply for, so.
Any
Okay.
other questions? Okay, so we do have the public hearing.
Thank you.
We're getting short on time, and we do have still a long list. So I was pretty lax on the 3-minute rule. So please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Please, if someone has kind of expressed your similar comment, just solidarity. We hear, we see you. So the lectern is open if you'd like to share your name and share your thoughts.
My name is Dirk Kilburn, 1213 Santina Drive, right across the street from this. I'm 28 years old. I bought my house 4 years ago. So, I'd just like to say for you and your kids, it's not impossible to do. I know it's difficult. I had a difficult time. My house payment's over $4,000. I'm doing it. Yeah, it's doable. I'd also, just would like to say, I'd hope you guys would protect the investment of the homeowner, especially with how expensive and how much money I'm spending a month to maintain a homeownership, that you would protect my investment and the citizens' investments over the investment of 1 or 2 men. I think that is all I have.
Thank you.
Hi, Doug Wheelwright again. So I wanted to comment on this, mainly harping back to the existing zoning and the existing land use master plan for future development. I think some of this applies to the other application, but the current plans and zoning all reflect an emphasis on Cherry Hill. That's the landmark. You say, oh, I don't say I live in Farmington, I say I live by Cherry Hill, just west. Your prior master plan says that's an important economic asset, and it should be encouraged and allowed to develop. I think in this particular property, the commercial zoning is probably the right zoning for it, in that it will help the city much more than multifamily. Everyone knows that residential development does not pay its own way in terms of offsetting the municipal services, utilities, and infrastructure that is demanded of local government. They know that. What does pay its way? Actually, what pays its way more is commercial. And most cities have a much higher balance of commercial to residential, and it offsets their budget, and it keeps their taxes down. These actions are going to seal the doom on expansion of Cherry Hill in a commercial way, with a concentration on recreational commercial development. I think you should wait until you go through this future land use master plan process before you make these hard decisions.
Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question?
Please. Kira, the lectern is yours. Sorry, you will also come up.
I don't have a whole lot to say. I am just not clear as to where this is at. I don't, it's on Lloyd. Is it on that property
So,
where they had the
Kira, do you
car?
remember where that lapidary, the rock shop was when we first moved in? Like there was an old couple there.
Okay, where the little auto shop was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And where else? There's no way all that fits on that property.
I think that's the lot, right? Okay.
Is the yard like hidden somewhere? Sorry, I just am not picturing it. I thought maybe it was like that field that's by the bridge, but how
Sure.
did, okay, it's fine. I don't know what's happening.
No, that's fair. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Sam.
Sam Paget again, and again, I live approximately a quarter of a mile from this project as well. And I do like the looks of this much better than what we saw in the first, but to speak to this alone, I feel it's way too many packed in there. I look at that and I think about when I was a kid, I loved to play baseball and other sports, and I think we're talking about bringing families into here. Where would my kids kick a soccer ball? Where would they throw a baseball? I don't see it. I live in the area. There's not, well, I guess Nichols Park's a ways away. It's kind of run down right now, but it's a little ways away for especially little children to go. I feel like it's too many packed into an acre. Let's see, that's less than an acre. It's 36,000 square feet, so it's less than an acre. And I just feel like it's too much in there for, like Kira mentioned, they're putting way too much in there for what's the land available there. Again, I think it looks nice. It's a lot nicer than what was proposed in the first. The other thing that I'll mention, just in passing, that as I mentioned before, I spent a lot of time gathering signatures, and when I started out, I didn't even know about this project, but as I got a little past Kira's house, people started saying, is this for down at the end of our road? And I go, what are you talking about? I didn't know about it. Obviously, I didn't live in the 200 or 300 feet that get a letter, which I don't think is right. But anyway, so then as I went down the street closer to it, many of the people educated me on it. And the other thing is I was gathering signatures, I heard kind of a pessimistic comment that I hesitate to bring up here, but I will, because I tried to downplay it or put it off. But I had several of the citizens say, well, I'll sign the petition, I agree with you, but I don't think it'll do any good. They'll have their mind made up. They don't really care about us as citizens, and I hope that's really not true. I really hope that the people that are here, yes, there's quite a few people from Kaysville and Farmington. I lived over by those people before we built our home where it's at. I've lived in this area for over 30 years. And, but there's a lot of people here from Fruit Heights too. And I think I'm representing them. And don't think that it's all the people from Kaysville or Farmington that are in opposition to what's being done tonight, because these are your neighbors, these are your citizens, and we just canvassed our little area. We didn't extend out because we thought these are the people who are directly affected by it. So I hope that you'll understand, and I understand your position. I hear a lot about, you know, the state's mandating this and that, and but I still think that the cities have their rights. I'm not in city government. I don't know. Cindy could speak to that more than I could. but I think that it's been pointed out that Fruit Heights is built out. I think that we need to maintain the feel, and as was mentioned, these little postage stamp changing of the zoning does not fit. It doesn't help. I just feel strongly that to deny the application to rezone. I feel very strongly, and I'm just one person, but I also handed you, or Keith handed you probably over 100 signatures. I gathered many of them, but there's a stack there, and those are concerned citizens, all Fruit Heights citizens, to my knowledge. So
Thank you, Sam.
I would like to just kind of reiterate what Todd mentioned earlier, and that is that I think you're putting yourself and the city in a real legal bind if you approve this. You've already denied it to one individual. He'll have every reason to come back and sue the city for his denial on the same basis. And I think it'd be a foolish thing to do that at this point until we have such time as we've got this on a plan and know what we're doing. I personally live 2 miles probably at least from each one of these developments. So I don't know how much impact they're going to have on me, but they're going to impact my neighbors. And honestly, I look at this development and where it's at, and it looks like it would be a fine place. And if we have a commercial zone there right now, and it can be developed under a commercial zone, why rezone it to something that we don't have on the map? It makes little or no sense. There's been a lot of discussion about moderate income housing. Our city planner stood here and told you he didn't think there'd ever be any property developed within Fruit Heights that would meet moderate income housing. That does not have to be the case. You write a moderate income housing plan, and you can choose to talk to a developer and say, listen, you're going to have to guarantee that 2 of these units out of 20 are going to meet that requirement, or we will not allow the development to go forward. You have that power. And to just say, oh, well, we can't do it, but we'll get close. There's nothing in the state that says if you get close, they're going to count that. There's no near miss that makes it work for you. So you have the obligation to look at the moderate income housing as well. And don't say, well, it's close, it makes it look good to the rest of us, the world, that we're trying to do it. Let's not just try it, let's figure out a way to make it work.
Thank you. Alrighty. Sir?
Kevin, I just want you to know I tried not to come up, okay? I did try.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Okay, I couldn't hold back any longer. I've listened to all the comments. Oh, by the way, I'm Mike Burnett. I live at 359 South Glen Circle. Okay, been a resident here for 46 years. All right? I've heard a lot of discussion prior to this meeting about how to address moderate income housing. And I think there's a point that has not been made. Building apartment complexes is not the only way to address moderate income housing. There's existing non-compliant apartments that are in the city that could be approached on a gradual basis. I said, if we need a plan for 20 years, let's do 5 of the non-compliant existing apartments here that could be rented within the limits of the moderate income housing. Let's propose to do 5 of those units that already exist in the city each year for the next 20 years. Okay? Problem solved. All these things are great, but they don't have to be the only thing that you consider. You guys are the Planning Commission. You can address what's already there in a way that satisfies all these constraints that you're trying to face, okay? I think that that's a solution that has not been addressed deeply enough, okay? I know that the city has discussed what kind of incentive do we give to the property owner to bring it up to compliance. Maybe that's where the city spends their money, helping 5 of those property owners bring their non-compliance unit up to standards, okay? Just wanted to throw that out there to complicate your decision further. Okay?
You're good, thank you. You'll really like point 6.4 today. It's a good one. But thank you. 6.4 is that'll be a fun one. Alrighty, any other comments? Please? And we'll get you too, don't worry, I see you.
Hello, my name is Kristen Wintle. I live at 1164 Easton Valley. I would be directly west of this property, the first one on Hidden Valley. I wasn't planning on getting up here and saying anything, and this is my first city meeting that I've ever been to, so I don't really know what to do, but I do agree that, like, right now the property as is really ugly. There's like, nobody's lived there for a while and it just kind of looks deserted. I agree that there's something that needs to be done with it, but I don't agree that this is it. I think that's too many units on the property, and I feel like having that many more cars driving down Hidden Valley Drive is a lot. Also, another thing is I don't really know how to say this eloquently, but I just feel worried that, actually, I think that's it. That's all I have to say.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're really nice.
If you
Not
change your
scary.
mind, let us know, okay? Great. Please.
Okay, I'm going to follow after her. I haven't ever stood, I've been to one other meeting a couple of years ago, and so, but I live in what was formerly known as Lloyd's Mobile Home Park. We've just recently had a turnover there. And almost everybody's older than me where I live. I have some people that don't have great eyesight, that are getting older, that their reaction times aren't the same. We're going to be a next door neighbor, and children are going to end up on their scooters and on their bicycles. And the question I actually pointed out to him was, where can they play? That is honestly, I drive a little Honda PCX motorcycle up Hidden Valley Drive because there's less traffic than on Lloyd Road. And somebody, and I don't know who it is, has a little sign that says, "Drive like your children live here." When I drive up the road, and I think about that every day as I'm driving up that road. My big concern is do we have a safe place for children there? There isn't a place for them to play. And I'm going to address something that I hope he doesn't mind if I mention. My other concern was traffic, because this time of year, Cherry Hill is a little busy. And there's cars lined. I don't know how far up Lloyd Road they go. I know they go right past our house, and we have to be careful because they cringe on our driveways. He has actually got, each one of those is 2-car garages with driveways that will hold 2 vehicles as well, which I think is marvelous planning on his part. My only concern there, like I said, is I think we need to address a place for children to play. Now, whether it's his job to find that or Fruit Heights City to find a place for kids to play, because Nichols Park is a little far for 8- and 9-year-olds to walk. That's all I have to say.
Great, thank you. All right, please.
I have a question before you vote.
Sure.
You said that when you vote, then if you vote for this, then you take it to city council. But then at that point, there's no more of this. You don't get to hear from us anymore, the city council.
Sarah, there's not a second public hearing with the city council,
But
right?
you can contact the city council members. I mean, we make a recommendation. What we say tonight, I mean, we think we're important, but it really doesn't matter. We don't get a
If you
vote.
vote for it, or if you say, yes, we're gonna take it to city council, will you speak to this group here tonight? It's overwhelmingly against these. Will you say, hey, we say, okay, but will you tell the city council on the behalf of the people that this night happened, that people were against what's happening? Does that happen, or is that?
Mark's on the city council. That's why they
Yeah.
have someone here from the city council.
We've got a
Russ
guy on the
Mark.
inside.
So it does get passed along.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say yes, it does get passed along to the city council that there were many people.
Yes.
Mark, let them know that we're unpopular people.
I've counted, and we've had 70 people here tonight, so.
Thank you, sir. All righty.
Kevin Race. I'm in the Lloyd Mobile Home Park, and my bedroom is about 5 feet from that property line right there. So I'm going to be intimately affected by all this stuff. And but I've heard a lot about affordable housing. And to me, there are so many different ways to get affordable housing in that area right there. You know, the mobile home court that we're in right now, it's a senior community, and we are a close community, and it's peaceful and it's quiet. We would really like to keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Please.
And I just wanted to stand and clarify, obviously, I'm coming here tonight as an investor, trying to maximize what is plausible on the property, but I'm also a resident. I've got children. All the concerns that have been shared, they're all warranted. So I just want to make sure that it's been heard and spoken that I'm open for the discussion with the planning committee, and we've heard the 4 levels. Again, I want something that is visibly an enhancement. I'm not just trying to just be an investor and just make money. Again, I drive by it. I live in Fruit Heights, and I want to have harmony as well. I'm not trying to just ramrod it down the residents' throats. So, just want to have that heard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Ryan, is it your intention to rent these at the low income pricing and to sell these at moderate housing?
Those aren't his.
These aren't mine, or the apartments.
He works
Yeah.
on-
The properties, the rental, and again, I'm open to even if there's a benefit that the community sees as selling them. I'm open for both as far as it doesn't have, I'm not married to renting. If it protects the integrity, that it's someone that has some ownership and has more integrity in the home, that's the concern. I'm not
Are you
married to.
planning to sell these at the moderate?
The ones I'm building tonight that we're talking about are rentals. And if the ones that I'm projecting to build, they would be $1,200 to $1,300 a month, so they'd be far less than the $2,000 threshold. So again, once we get to a planning, I'm sure that we're going to be far more parameters that I've got to jump through. But again, I'm completely open to that. Again, I haven't bumped into people that are or Cherry Hill or Lagoon or wherever it is. I'm not trying to be an investor that has no emotion at all.
Go for it. Thank you.
Can I ask Brian a question? Just because you got up, Ryan, I would have left it alone, but you talk about wanting to make it look better. Look, you've owned the property for how many years now? And what have you done to make it look better so far?
If you remember, when I bought the house,
It looks bad because you own it, you aren't taking care of it.
when I bought
Let's
the
be
house,
kind.
There were probably bushes that were 12 feet tall that I removed myself. I renovated the inside of the house.
That's true, that happened a long time ago, now what?
How long's the lot of parking had?
I think.
I'm not looking at
This isn't what the meeting is.
I think maybe we have that conversation after, but you're definitely heard. We heard you. Thank you, and thank you. Please.
This is Michael Heyer again on Hidden Valley Drive. I'm one down from Christian, so this one's a little closer to home. I just wanted to point out, and Ryan touched on this, is that as an investor, you're seeking to maximize your profit off of the things that you're doing, and there's no reason why they should do any different. It's the responsibility of the city and the planning commission to zone these so that the restrictions of the zone is appropriate for the area. And that's why I think that denying this rezone and maybe creating a zone that is less dense might better fit the area and allow these folks to make money while maybe not quite as much. They'd still be able to do this development, make more affordable housing, and everybody's happy.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Any other thoughts?
Yep.
Sure.
I think the hard part is what these property owners want us to pay them for their property, that if we get much less than that, we have to walk away because it is not feasible. And I'm being very candid right now because this property, I won't suggest what the numbers are, but we're paying a lot of money for this property. And the only way to make it feasible is to do something like this. And otherwise, we have to walk away because I can't sell it for a loss. Because if I get much less, I would barely break even. I'm not in business to break even, but I'm not looking to get wealthy off this one project, but we have to have some return for that. But the value of the land in your city is such that it demands the price. And fixing up these old homes, that's a great idea, and I respect that thought, but that home renovated couldn't sell for what I need to pay for just the ground there. So thank you for letting me stand back up.
Mhm.
And I appreciate you listening to me tonight, and thank you. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just have a question for the council member. So, Fruit Heights City Council does not hold a public hearing before they vote on rezoning?
No.
No.
This is that venue. Alrighty. Please.
Cool.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
It's good to see you.
As well. Josh Panalakis. I actually own a home straight across from where this would be developed, 1073 South Blackstone Drive. I recently bought a home across Main Street, now in Farmington and Montebello, because we needed a little bigger home that was safer for our family. We live in the Cherry Heights community, or where my home is right now, and it is a pretty small yard, but it is great for starter families and those who want a smaller yard to be able to maintain and all of that. I tried to buy the commercial property, so good for you to be able to do that. I contacted the seller 4 or 5 times. He never reached back out to me because I was hoping to be able to buy it, try to get it rezoned where I could potentially put 2 or 3 homes on there, where one of them could be us, so I could be able to stay in the community.
Sure.
Couldn't do that. They ignored me. I don't get why. I won't take offense that my last name's Panalakis, so. But the big thing for me is we're a family-oriented community. I was born and raised in Bountiful, but moved up here when I got married with my wife. And I do think they need to do something to the car lot before that cabinetry. Cops were called there all the time. We had druggies coming to our doors and trying to bang in the door, and we've had to call the cops. So I completely agree that we need to do something. But I don't think putting 19 homes there or 20 homes is the right solution. One, kind of be an eyesore looking out our window to be able to see that. But doing something small, kind of like what our community is with Cherry Heights, I think that makes sense. It's affordable. Dirk said it. He's been able to do it. I've been able to do it. I have all of them in there that have been, all of my friends. I was on the HOA presidency for 6 years, and everyone knew how to do it. I think the way that we need to approach it and to maximize your investment is saying, okay, if we are able to close on the deal, how can we do it where it makes it right for the city and right for the community around it? Adding play area, that's fantastic. We have a small common ground in Cherry Heights. The kids play there. The traffic on the back of Lloyd Road in Hidden Valley, my little boy almost got hit on his bike 4 times. Adding additional traffic to that isn't the right solution. you'll probably see more kids potentially get hurt or things like that. So for me, it's saying, hey, I'm open to potentially rezoning it and doing something different, but you got to make it work with what the community wants and something that would be there. And that's kind of what I would want to say.
Sure. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
Alrighty, unless we have any other takers, I will entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
I will make a motion to close the public hearing on, oh, this is where the glasses come in. Is there an address on that one?
1112 Lloyd.
I'm blind. 1112 South Lloyd.
Any second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm kind of a similar mindset as the other one. I do think, I really like the idea of townhomes here. I think maybe the amount is a little much, and I'd be curious talking to Blocks about whether there is margin for some reduction. But again, we're not here today about the specific plan, the specific layout, but about the R3. Again, I think given where this is in the city, its surrounding elements, what it is currently, this makes sense to me. But again, open to what everyone else has to say as well.
I think Scott should go first this time.
Well, I do want to address this piece here as well. That piece has been sitting there for some time. You've got the Somerset condominiums just to the north, which is higher density than what this is. You've got the homes that are just to the south of it, where that gentleman was saying that he lives in, that, as he said, they're small fenced yards. But the reality of the matter is, when I grew up in Kaysville, when most of you grew up in Kaysville, the large lots just aren't a reality anymore. For young families, actually the new starter home are townhomes. You don't find anybody building starter home neighborhoods. I don't like it any more than anybody else does. Property in these two towns for Heights and Kaysville is very expensive. The numbers don't mix for developers to be able to be involved in that, as that is my career. So I look at this as a welcome opportunity to make a medium price range that possibly our kids will move up home to. These townhomes, I think it's a good use. So I would entertain the motion to approve the rezoning of the property at 112 South Lloyd Road to an R3 zone.
Any other thoughts?
I just was going to read, is it appropriate to read part of this code that the state passed in November? The one that we have? It's Title 10, Chapter 20, Part 9, Letter 2. You guys, I have some in my nightstand, Ryan. I'm trying not to be old, but these might be a little strong for me. It says, if a land use regulation does not plainly restrict a land use application, the land use authority shall interpret and apply the land use regulation to favor the land use application. Basically, the state is telling us, unless like it absolutely does not work, you better approve it. So I hate that. Why did I sign up for this job? It's not even a job. I don't even get paid. But I do love this.
Can I say, Heidi's like, everyone's going to hate us. So she's really worried.
No, I mean, I love this commuter. I'm not moving anywhere. I just built another house. I could never sell it for what it cost me to build, so I'm stuck here forever. But I get it, and I hate when people feel like they're not heard. I hate it. Like, I hate when my heart is in something. I'm the most passionate human you'll ever meet. I have an opinion about everything, and I hate not feeling heard. But it's so hard. I don't agree with the concepts of everything we see, but I agree. My personal opinion is that area, that chunk piece of land, is a great area for higher density. And I know that's not fun to hear when you have a single family home there. I get it, but I don't know where it goes. Like, we all just can't say we don't want it, because all my kids are getting older and graduating, and they're gonna have nowhere to live. And I mean, it's just the matter of fact, like, just to rent an apartment is insane. So the state really, they have no control over what things are sold for, what they're rented for, but they're trying to control what they can to say, like, we're chasing everyone out of our state, we have to do something. So our goal is to try and like weave this line between not feeling hated or people feeling heard, and then making a space for our kids and continue to have a community that thrives. Because if we all die and there's no young kids here, we're kind of messed. So we have to find a happy medium. And I am all for listening to people and finding a happy medium. I am not like a, forget you, that's not, I don't think if the rezones are approved, I don't think that's what it says. Because I don't know if either one would meet my approval to where I would say go with that in its current state. Don't hate me.
I'd just like to say, like, the 20 out of 24 apartments, so one bedroom, like, if, like, you're not gonna have kids.
Well, you could have a single mom or someone that got divorced or someone in a hard situation. I mean, honestly, that like you could have if with a baby or a woman who is divorced. I mean, I just like, just because we're not in hard times doesn't mean people aren't in hard times, and we have to be understanding of all situations in life. And again, like I don't think what Ryan has, he's just like, this is what I'm doing, because I know him. I've already told him that's not something I would approve, and I've told him that. So it's not. I don't want people to feel unheard no matter what people vote.
Well, I'm going to add one thing to what Heidi said here in regards to this project, but also to what Ryan has proposed on his piece. Back in the 1970s, my parents' first home was down on 400 South, just below Columbia Elementary. Any of you are that old and know where that is, those homes were government 235 homes, government subsidized homes. That was our first home. We moved in that neighborhood, and we were shunned. The neighborhood was shunned because it was low income. I think things haven't changed. We need to develop our attitudes to where we find a way to make us all fit. And we accept all of us and find a way to make it work for all of us. And I think our first step is what we're trying to do here. The zoning is just a simple step. I would not approve what I saw for the zoning on the property on Main Street at this point. I would approve another version of that, something that was not as dense as that is. So, but the zoning allows for different ideas to come forth, and the zoning allows for different ideas to come forth on this. I look at this project and I think a couple of my kids could afford to live there. I know what price range they're going to end up being, and that unfortunately is the median price range of homes everywhere, which you can barely get anything a fixer-upper for that. So I hope we can all realize that life is about negotiation and is about compromise, and we just have to make some compromises. So once again, I made the motion on this.
Ready for a second. Justin, do you have any thoughts you want to share?
No,
before we
I
proceed?
think my thoughts agree, so I don't need to repeat.
Sure.
I think what's already been said.
Okay. So I have a motion. I'll take a second. Josh, just because I love you, I'll hear you out.
Can I just ask a question?
Please.
Cool. This is my first one as well. I sit here
Yeah.
If someone came, if an investor came and bought 2 lots right next to you guys and tried to tore them down and wanted to request to do something else, how would you guys feel? Like, that's the big thing I think that you guys need, you guys are going through this. As investors come in, I work for a company that's owned by private equity.
Sure.
Private equity is some of the biggest companies at home. And they don't care about the people, they care about making people profit. And that's kind of where I would say, so you guys are looking at this and trying to decide what's best to do. Think about it if it was right next to you.
Sure. No, that's fair. Thank you. I'll take one more, just because I already made the cardinal sin of reopening the public.
Too nice.
Say that I think a lot of us, well, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us feel like there's room for change, but the fact that you're saying we have to vote now, we feel like it's all or nothing. Like the fact that there's no other public hearing, like I feel like if I don't vote now on a certain way, that down the line it's just gonna be whatever this is without any other questions.
Sure. No, thank you. I now, to staff, once it would come to a plan, that would also be a public hearing, correct?
No.
There's not a public hearing
Okay, so yeah.
required.
Okay.
It used to be very different, but the
Sure.
state laws
Yeah,
have
the
just-
state changed the law in the past.
Like, the state in the last 2 years has taken a lot away from that. I don't know the gentleman that said, why is the city directly working with the developer? Because that is the law of the state. It just takes a lot out of our hands. We don't have a lot of say, like it's I don't know if it's my favorite thing, but I'm not at the state. I mean, contact our new representatives if you have issue. I mean, really, they are the ones that are driving a lot of this. They really are, and I get why they are, but they come from a macro level and like, don't look at small towns like ours that are kind of infilled. We have no commercial, right? Like a lot of the things that get passed don't always fit in our town, and that's not something we have control over.
Sure.
I'm just saying, don't shoot the messenger.
Alrighty. So I'll take, I have a pending motion on the 1112 to approve. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so on the rezone for 1112 South Lloyd that has passed, so we did table the vote on the rezone for 1207 South Main Street. Do I have a motion one way or the other? Oh, man, I keep violating all sorts of rules.
Just quickly, you listened to the public's comments, you listened to the planning commission's comments as well, I listened to your follow-up comments. Would you consider tabling your proposal until you can modify your proposal that would allow for some, as Heidi says, kind of a happy meeting? Not everybody's gonna be happy, but clearly they don't like the extremity of your proposal, but would you consider tabling your proposal and coming back with a modification with some more input?
I think that'll happen when I go through the planning, and as fun as this has been, I don't know that I really want to go through this. I'm completely open to the suggestions that we proposed and suggested when I go through the planning committee.
And even though there's not another public hearing, you do have all of our email addresses. And the city council email addresses and the city, like, I'm not on the city council. We are the planning commission. I can only speak for everyone who's on the commission, and I think we're all very open, reasonable, moderate, calm kind of people.
I've gotten emails about chickens and pools and
We're
stuff.
planning commission. We are not the city council. We are not
Yeah.
elected, we're appointed.
Yeah, we're these guys, not these guys. Yeah, I'm definitely not as cool as Jeannie, that's for sure. Again, I'll entertain a motion any which way about the rezone on 1207 Main.
I'd just like to make a comment. I agree with Scott that I think what has been presented for Maine, I think there's opportunity, and it seems like Ryan's open to that. I agree. I think 4 stories is too tall. I think there's opportunity potentially for to make it fit a little bit better for that area. But I will make a motion to approve the rezone of 1207 South Main Street to R3.
Okay, do I have a second?
I think that's you, Kevin. Or can you not second?
I can't second, I don't think. I just have the mic.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of the rezone to R3 of 1207 South Main Street? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so then the rezone of 1207 South recommendation to City Council has passed. And again, folks, very much appreciate you being here. Very much appreciate your thoughts. If you're interested in being on Planning Commission, there is an application available for one spot. So, thank you. All right, we will now proceed to planning.
Moderate income housing, till next time.
Yeah, a question, so we have a couple of remaining issues. There's the preliminary plat approval for Oakmont Acres First Amended.
Yeah.
Do we have someone who's going to present on that? Jeff, it's your night.
But we could table 6.4 and 6.5.
Let's, after we address this,
Okay.
yeah, because it's getting late.
I have a child living on a mission next week who's home,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I would prefer to spend
Yeah.
time with him.
Sure.
I'm just like sweating. No one else is sweating.
All righty.
We ready?
Yes.
Okay, this is probably less controversial. So what we have before us now, let's all switch gears. This is a subdivision. So right at the top of Oakmont Lane, before it makes the turn and goes north.
The new street before the.
No, this is not, and this is Old Oakmont
Yes,
Lane.
but like it.
There's no new roads there.
Oh, you guys, I've been here too long.
So this existing lot sits there. And there's an existing home on the property. I'm gonna walk over here so I can just point. Are we okay to keep going here?
I think we're good, yeah.
So here's Oakmont Lane comes up right here, and then it turns and goes north, and it's a dead-end street. So this lot is right at where it turns to go up. This is an existing home, probably built in the 70s, Darren.
Yeah.
Pretty old. That lot will stay. He wants to divide this lot and create a new building lot right here, in which Joe Christensen is the property owner, current property owner. He'll build himself a house right here, and he'll sell this. And so that's kind of basically what the proposal is. He's subdividing that lot. Both lots will still meet both lots will still meet the minimum requirements.
What's the zoning there right now?
Say that again.
What's the zone?
So this is all
okay.
RS12.
Got it.
So no zoning change here.
Sure.
12,000 foot lot, 12,000, well, this one's 20,000 feet and this one's gonna be 18,000 feet. So they're both pretty good sized lots. There's a number of utility dancing around that's gotta be done because some of the utilities are coming across this property, and so he's gotta bring things down so it's tied in here and then tie in new stuff here. One of the big things with this property is, the driveway access is into the back of this house like this. And then he's gonna create a new driveway that goes in the front of this house, and he's gonna do away with this. I don't know how he's gonna get into this lot, whether it's the front or the side, but
There's gonna be that as a driveway.
this driveway is being used by this guy that lives right here.
So does he have to get like an easement?
That's what I said. I said,
Doesn't
well,
he
are you
need
going to
an
allow him to
easement?
continue to use the driveway on your property to get to his house? And I think the answer to that is yes. And I suggested that if you give him a permanent easement to go across there. Otherwise, he has no legal access. He could come to the side over on some city-owned property and maybe create a new driveway, but that's still a little bit up in the air, and we're still trying to solve that. It can be solved.
Can you put that as a condition, just for his safety and the guy who owns it, if you ever, I mean, for everyone involved, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, that guy
Want to require
that guy needs
it?
legal access to his
Just-
house.
Because if he sold it or died, or I don't know the age of the gentleman, like that, you'd think he would want it.
So there's a number of things that still need to be done here, and I've outlined them in my staff report. I'm just going to read them. He needs to pay his plat fee at the city. I don't know if he's done that or not. This is not a subdivision plat. This is just a site plan. So he's got to actually create a plat that's recordable. We don't have that in our possession yet, so he needs to do that. Show the existing sewer line for Lot 1. If it crosses Lot 2, it needs to be in an easement, and it will, because it will likely impact the construction of a new home on Lot 2. If you have any input to any of this, Darren, just interrupt.
So he'll actually be running new services in for the current home and running new services in for that home.
Sewer as well?
Sewer as well.
Just because it's outdated, or?
Because they actually,
Or
both
just
of them
split
come
it off?
across the other lot,
Oh.
so.
Yeah, they need to be relocated.
Here, Darren, take this.
Like, where are the existing?
So, currently the sewer comes across and goes up into the home. He's gonna come in and
Split
put
it.
the sewer in and a water line in. The water line currently comes up and comes across, so he'll just connect that. So everything currently coming into this lot is the sewer and the water that's there, so.
So we're just, but we don't have a plat yet.
No, we don't have a plat. So we're not seeing the easements.
Okay.
We'll get that rectified, but we just need to make sure that the utilities for both lots are in their proper place and that they're both within easements that, you know, are in perpetuity moving
But
forward.
we could approve a plat with condition of saying
Yeah,
he needs to.
if you
get
make
an
it
easement.
subject to the
Like he
notes
has
here
to
in
get an
the,
easement?
in the staff report, then that's fine. We talked about the driveway on the south end already. The other thing, I want him to show the city right-of-way right on the south end of this property. The city owns a right-of-way that goes to the east, up to the city boundary, and that right-of-way is how wide?
I think it's 20 feet.
Like 20 feet? I just want to show that on the drawing. And then the only other thing is we need to address the new lot. So everything is fine. He just still needs to kind of rearrange some things. Like I wrote the staff report on March 26, 25, and he's just barely getting around to
So he's in a hurry.
bringing it forward. So
I think we've
he hasn't been
we've
in a
heard
big
about
hurry.
this. I think we've heard about this before, just like.
We talked about it way back,
sure.
but we've
But he
never,
meets the setbacks once the split. I can't tell from that plat, like the existing home still it's still like 10-foot setback off that. South? I don't know. Does that make sense, what I'm asking? Because he's splitting the lot, he's building a home, he's keeping the existing home with the lot line still.
Does
Yeah,
it?
he still
Yes.
has the setbacks here.
Yes, I can't-
Has the setbacks here.
Yes.
Has the setbacks here. And then, of course, with the new lot.
Yes, yeah, I just want, like, we're not asking for any, yeah.
So we'll still have to require to meet all the setbacks.
Darren, will you just show them where the Weber Basin easement is on the back?
It's across this back right here.
And that's 30 feet, right?
Yeah. I believe it's
So you can't build in that 30
Is
feet.
that's not the same, different water line?
That's Weber
in my area.
Basin's aqueduct.
Well, Aqueduct has a 40-foot easement, so is it just,
Well,
okay.
part of it goes
Yeah.
on the
Then my-
east of that too.
My question is, has anything been done geotechnically as far as, is there any fault lines going through there?
There hasn't been anything geotechnical done in that area.
Because
Is it-
that home was built prior to when there were any requirements.
Yeah,
But is
So-
it in sleds? Is it?
no.
Okay.
It's not in the sensitive lands ordinance. I mean, I don't know if we can require him to do it. If we have some kind of concern, we could. We haven't talked about that. We didn't think it was probably necessary, but we could have them do an investigation when they dig the foundation.
As far as I know, any development in other cities or any other locations, there, a fault line requirement is in there, so to create fault line easements so they don't build on them.
Well, they can't build on a fault line easement, but this is outside of
Because that's
what
mapped, right?
it's outside of
We
what
would
the
have
mapped
to map
area,
to
it's
this.
well outside of what the mapped area shows for fault lines. It doesn't mean that there's not something there, but it would be rare to find something here. If you think that that's something we should talk about, we could have them do an investigation when they dig their foundation. And it's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
That could be a recommendation of the planning commission.
I think it would be a good recommendation for them to know, because anybody that future to buy that property would need to know, insurance would need to know, am I built on a fault line? I mean, your garage is built in the fault line easement.
Yep.
And
On the- yep.
Spenlow's house is in the fault, it would never be allowed where it is. So my concern was allowing for any future homes down the road to be built within a fault line easement is something that needs to be publicly known.
Yeah. Yeah, like mine can't have any living space, it can't have any Just a.
So this is on the agenda as a preliminary plat approval.
But with the new law, it doesn't come back to us,
No.
right? We just like see it and then
No.
it's gone.
Don't we
And
need
then
more
we-
detail?
Yeah.
The staff has to work out all the detail.
So,
But-
we can't say, hey, come back with some detail.
No, you can't.
You can.
Just say like, when he gets you these details,
If-
then come
If you
back.
want to see more detail and bring it back for a subsequent preliminary approval, you can do that.
I mean, that, I guess it just seems like it's not
Not-
fully there.
Like if we don't have the actual plat with the easements, if he doesn't have a easement for a driveway, like he
I mean,
wouldn't.
generally, I think this will be an accept at some point.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Do you, I mean, you guys
The-
see these more
The-
than me, but.
The reason that this is pushing forward right now is the city's getting ready to redo Oakmont Lane, and Darren called this guy up and says, listen, if you don't get this done right now, we're not letting you dig into the road after we rebuild it, and that
When is
rebuild's
that
gonna
happening?
happen when?
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
So you're
So,
saying, like, we
he's-
can make a list of conditions that it's not approved until he like,
or we can approve subject
If-
to.
Yeah.
if he
Yes, like
doesn't,
the soil
if he doesn't get
easement,
these
the-
utilities stubbed into this lot in the
He's
next 2
messed.
weeks, he's not gonna do it for 5 years.
But we can give conditional approval, right? Conditioned on,
We can tell him to get out there and get his utilities stubbed in without any approval, just say, but it's on his risk that it's gonna get approved, but you could give a conditional approval subject to a number of things.
I mean, I guess it depends on what are the most, because again, generally speaking, doesn't seem like a problem, the idea, but it just seems like he mailed it in.
It seems like all the other lots in that circle are what he's doing here. They're all the same.
Kevin, we're comfortable with it if it's subject to these items in the staff report. We've all met.
Okay.
About-
So
but obtaining an easement isn't one of them?
Yeah, that's on there.
It is, okay.
So I think
I kind
if-
of focused on the other two and this one.
Yeah.
If the motion was contingent on those
Then-
And then
items,
if you want to add a discussion about requiring a geotech analysis on his
I would just say
excavation.
at excavation, it's required to verify there's no fault lines or soil, right? I mean,
Well, yeah, you could
Yeah,
just give
that
a
would be
recommendation
sufficient.
Yeah.
to address any fault line issues that would
Yeah.
be made known.
yeah.
We just bring a geotech guy out, he looks at the foundation walls, see if he sees anything in there, and writes up a one-page report.
I mean, as a homeowner, you think you'd want that.
I
like,
would.
You would want the peace of mind of knowing you're solid, just because of where we live. What? A mountain on a hillside with fault lines? What? Can I make a recommendation to approve the plat with the city
Can I have,
manager requirements?
sorry, I'm not seeing the staff report.
I think
but-
that's why I didn't
It's,
know it.
it's one of the attachments in
Yes.
there. Let me
What's
see
the
which
title?
one, let me see which one it was here.
Right, it's-
Should be that one right there.
Can you zoom in on that?
I have agenda,
I mean, it
Lloyd,
seems pretty
Lloyd.
straightforward, yeah. Like, I went through everything.
I didn't see it.
It is there. Let me find it.
Oh, site plan, oh, no.
Yep, it doesn't
Staff
have the
review,
notes.
let's see. Was it this one?
Lloyd, Maine, Lloyd, minutes. That's Ivy,
Joe was here, right? Was he waiting and then he just gave up?
Lloyd, Maine.
No, I guess he didn't attend tonight.
That's one.
Oh, I was like, he just gave up and was like, I
don't
don't
see it.
have the time or energy.
I just, I mean, I downloaded everything, but
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's a lot split.
Yeah.
can you, oh, there you go.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Because
Yeah,
we
can
don't
do
have
without
it.
that.
You want me to read those again?
No, just scroll. Are there more than five?
can you scroll up?
Yeah, there's 7.
It talks about the right of way.
But it says show the right of way, but it's not saying like obtain an easement for right of way.
No, he doesn't need to obtain any easements for anything, but he needs to make sure that any utilities he installs are in an easement.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so because there's some utility pieces missing there, we need to make sure that they, when he does install them,
They're in an
they
easement.
land in a public utility easement. And we can make sure that happens. And then he's got to decide whether or not he's going to grant his neighbor on the south access across his property for their driveway. And the city doesn't care one way or the other. But if he fences it off and kicks this guy out, this guy doesn't have a driveway to his house presently.
Sure. Then we get into all sorts of easement disputes, which are fun.
We could.
Because I'm sure it's been decades.
There's room for him to build an alternate driveway. So we could solve it one way or the other. But last I was told, as Joe said, I'm not going to give it to him. But I think recently he has said, yes, I am going to allow him to continue to use it. But we suggested that it needs to be in a permanent easement if you're going to do that, because.
But I don't know that necessarily impacts our decision.
No.
Yeah.
I agree.
It doesn't.
That's something they'll have to figure out.
That's really an issue between two neighbors.
Sure. Okay, so do I have any
I know,
sort of
what do I
motion
call
on
it,
that?
though, just the city? It's like I make a motion to approve the plat with.
Subject to.
The recommendation list from the city be met. I'm not good at words.
No, that's the motion.
not my
I heard
gift.
it. Counts.
Not my
Anyone
gift.
second that?
And we're not going to address the.
I think we add.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, add that. You can add, or do I need to restate it?
Let's just
Okay,
restate it.
so sorry, it's past my bedtime. I make a recommendation to approve the Oakmont Acres subdivision plat, subject to the city's recommendation and subject to a, not fault line study, what would you say?
Possible to address any.
Address any fault line or soils issues at excavation.
Right, do I have a second on that one?
I will second that motion.
Is that correct? Okay, sorry.
All in
'Cause
favor?
I agree with that.
Aye. Okay. All right, so we are here, 6.4, reviewing MIH strategies and general plan discussion, which we're late, but this is just what Frank was wanting to talk about. You're here, Frank.
Yeah.
Just real quickly, one quick thing. I had an interesting conversation with Rick, this developer. Just so you understand, moving ahead at this point is not real wise, but he's told me he's willing to put 2 units in a deeded property that would sell for moderate income housing price.
That's great.
That's awesome.
But if you don't force it, it's not gonna happen. And we don't have a moderate income housing plan yet, we don't have the general plan, we don't have the right zoning.
Thank you. Just so you know, Frank, sometimes it seems like those things aren't happening. I've been on the commission for 5 years now. We've talked about moderate income housing for probably almost every meeting. Sure. And then the general plan, we definitely have our attention on it, but we appreciate that you're coming and your input.
I will tell you, he's most interested in doing something like that.
Cool.
And that will solve the problem, Jeff, easily, if we do it the right way. If we just ignore it and say we're gonna put up something to make everybody happy, that doesn't get us there.
Thank
If
you.
he'll commit to it, we'll hold him to it.
Yeah. Haley, can you make sure
Well,
that's
like,
in our
I mean, it
notes
sounds
here
like right
about
there below that
that
amount.
discussion?
That's
Yeah.
great. Like, I know people don't
If,
want to hear
if
that, but
he, if he took
it's
2 units
great.
out of 20 and made them affordable, that's 10% of the project. That's a pretty good target.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
But the question, the devil's in the detail, is he gonna make it affordable to the first guy that buys it? And then that guy's gonna turn around in a year and
Flip
sell
it.
it for double the price
Sure.
to somebody
Probably.
else? Because it needs to be, if he's gonna do it, it needs to be deed restricted, in my opinion, for
Yeah.
at least 10 years.
Yeah.
He needs to lock it up for at least, so that nobody can, like, come in, swoop in, and
Buy
make,
both and then
make
flip it and
a
make
killing
money.
on
Yeah.
it
Sure.
in a year later, right?
Yeah.
Jeff, what's that sales price max in order to qualify?
It's like nothing.
450.
It's around 450.
Okay.
I mean, it's a fluctuating point because it depends on the income levels.
Yes, there's a number of things, but essentially it's around 450. And when I made the comment, it's unlikely to happen, there's not 10 homes in this entire county that are for sale for 450, anywhere.
Sure.
And this is probably the most expensive dirt in the county, right here in this city. There isn't building lots selling for they're more than 450. You can't buy a building lot for 450. So how would you expect to build a home for that unless you get some density on there? That's what you gotta understand is the
Sure.
density
It's got a
creates
pencil.
the affordability.
I know.
You,
and
you
I
take
know it's
3 or
hard to
4
hear.
units away from this guy and the affordability is just going right out the door with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Every
'cause then
unit
he's gotta
becomes more
charge way
expensive.
more.
Well, that was the whole point of approving either one of those, is when they come back with a plan, they have to modify it to help us meet that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
And they both seem like
All
they're
we did is
people,
approve
they're not
zoning
out.
to
I mean, no
allow
one's getting
us to be able to
rich.
do.
Yeah,
Right,
the
but
next
they're
conversation.
out to-
You know that better
But
than
both
anybody.
And yes, we can
rezones
get a
or
lot under
improvements on
450
what
in Fruit Heights.
currently is on the property.
Yeah.
Which I know people don't want to hear, but I think rezoning both, your outcome will be
you're
better.
a lot, but we
Like, you're
can't.
gonna have a
Yeah.
better
I
situation.
also just
Yeah.
want to reiterate this, that these two projects have submitted an application to the city. You can't wait, you can't put on a false moratorium while you redo the general plan and wait for, they have to be processed.
Well, in my
And so
opinion,
these two
these
things
went
have,
all-
you could say, I'm going to put a moratorium on everything after this, but not these two.
But why? Anyway,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
neither here nor there.
Well, and I mean, my opinion would be that whole area it's a great area to have some, because it's already surrounded by high density. It's not like you're,
Yeah.
the spot zoning didn't make a lot of sense. to me 'cause
You don't
it's
find many places in the city that are more
Fit.
ripe.
It's the right application.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and, you know, my neighborhood's right there. I'm in the stone throwing distance. Well, literally, like I'm looking at this list. I'm like, people who don't like me know this.
My neighbors.
All my neighbors.
It's not any less of an application than the mobile home development or the development that's next to where the townhomes are gonna go that have the
Exactly.
small yards
Sure.
at
Yes.
Cherry Heights.
Yeah.
Or Somerset
Somerset.
condominiums. It's
Uh-huh.
in the right spot in the right
And
location.
if R3 was denied, then I think they should, if they can pencil it, R16. I think.
And,
is
and
definitely-
let the
Well, that's
process
just- that's
work.
just what-
Let us work with you
Sure.
and work with the developer
Yeah.
to come up with a plan that is gonna be, that's gonna look right.
But we don't even know
Um,
the city council's appetite for any of this, right? I mean, I don't know where they're gonna fall. Like I
I-
said, we don't have the vote. We just,
You don't have the vote.
yep,
Yeah.
basically. I mean, we just, it
Well,
matters what we say, but
We'll
not.
find out next week,
Sure.
right?
It doesn't matter
And-
what we say,
Yeah, well, I mean,
really.
I think either way, like it was a good conversation.
Okay.
Now, let me say something about moderate income housing now.
Yes.
I was supposed to kind of do a deeper dive into these 5 or 6 things that we identified as possibilities. I've been working on these 3 other projects, so I haven't done any of that yet. So
Let's just take
given
it
the
off.
late hour,
Did we
I
get you
suggest
the
we,
feedback though? Have we gotten feedback? I think I put a couple notes in there.
I don't have any feedback from any of you.
Okay.
No,
Have you
But-
seen it though
Haley,
in
do
Teams?
you have mine?
Say that.
In Teams?
Sweet.
I have not done it.
neither have I.
Can you send that to me now, Haley?
So maybe that's our homework
We can
is over the
table
next
that,
month
yes.
is make sure we get our comments in and then
Yes.
we can then
So
focus
I
in.
promise at our next meeting, unless we have 3 new requests for projects, but to have
We
this
won't.
MIH thing. And listen, neither one of these projects know anything about the other. It just so happened they both came in literally within.
Like
2
sandwiching
days.
these people in between each other,
Within 2
I'm like,
days.
bless our
He
souls.
started telling me about Ryan's, and I said, really, I got another guy.
Because you guys mentioned the one on Lloyd Road last month.
And
So
Ryan's.
I was kind of, I guess that's right, you did
We
mention
mentioned
both.
both. Ryan went to Jeff and was talking to Jeff about it. Rick came to me and was talking to me about it, and then I was like, hey Jeff, I got this thing coming up, and he's like, where's that one? Is it on Lloyd Road? It's like, I just got one from Ryan Ivy, and it's on Main Street. I'm like, what?
And they just like.
And it was just like,
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
happen chance that it came all at once, and
Perfect
they're within
storm.
a quarter of a mile of each other.
I mean, we've been talking about this though for a year, right? This is what we've been working
well, that was one
towards.
of the areas, as you remember, is planning.
Well, that's why, those are the areas I was.
That's in my
saying.
zone, and I marked those ones. I
We've all
marked
marked
the
them.
one
Those are the
next to
same-
Cherry Heights and Somerset. Those are logical locations. My neighbors, I understand. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Like Josh
so
says,
hard.
if it was your home, I get that. But at the same time, people have been doing that for generations. It used to be farmland, and I'm sure farmers are saying, I don't want single family. Like, this is tale as old as time. I
Well,
don't-
the development on the corner currently across from the lapidary, I'm sure there was the same right,
Sure.
feedback a couple years ago.
People didn't like that when they were building that.
Exactly.
And it's lovely.
Yeah,
It's lovely. And anyway, but I know I'm somewhat contrarian about my feelings about all that. So, okay.
So let's,
Anything about the
we're
general
at
plan?
the general plan.
Okay.
For how long? Just,
Well, it's 100% up to the planning commission, how far you want to go. We
Kevin
were-
looks like he's in for the long
Mark
haul.
was
My
asked
computer died.
Oh, good.
last meeting to go to
Oh, yeah.
the city council, get some direction on the number of lots.
yeah, the five,
to
the rule.
create trails
Sure.
on the property.
Yes.
Where that came from, and Mark did ask. The reply was, it's just a number I thought of, and I thought it was a good number. So there was no
Rhyme or
thing to
reason.
fall back
Yeah.
on, which is fine. The other thing that was brought up is they want to know when the planning commission wants to have a public hearing to take trails off the general plan. I will tell you today, I did get the bids for updating the general plan. I need to go through I ended up with 4. I need to go through them all. Jeff and I are actually gonna review all them Thursday morning. And we'll be making a recommendation to the council to have the general plan redone.
Like completely?
Completely. So, my question goes back to
In the
to the planning
process of
commission.
that, because I wasn't on the planning commission until it was closed, what is our level of input? Because like I do have it, I mean, they kept large pieces of land just vacant, not, like, they're not gonna stay like that. That's what comes in for rezone, and then people,
The planning commission is really involved
Okay.
with the general plan,
Yes.
actually more than Jeff.
okay.
Kevin,
you have to
Right
stay.
now, I don't have time to mess around with your general plan.
I've already done this once.
Well, I feel like a lot of it is great, but obviously, clearly, like the golf course has issues, some of the trail easements, and then there's just big parcels of land that are left open that are not gonna stay that way. So we need to address that so that even if people lose their marbles, at least it's all at once.
So
and they
that,
know
so
what's-
I will tell you.
I don't know.
In my RFP, and actually to the, I talked to some of the companies that did bid. They called and already knew about what was happening in Fur Heights. They just heard through the grapevine. I said one of the biggest portions will be public input and receiving public input, because everybody said we had no input, we didn't know about it.
And documenting the
Yes,
public input
and-
so people can remember it.
And documenting, and showing that. So that's a big portion of this plan, and it's a very big cost of this current plan. It's a big chunk. I was very surprised.
What are our bids at? What amounts are we talking?
We are between $70,000 and $90,000.
How much was the last one? 60?
80.
Okay, got it,
Yeah.
got it, that's right.
So.
Okay, so it's kind of
So
similar.
we're in the same ballpark.
But we're not-
And so.
Yeah, instead of but that was like starting from scratch.
And this will be,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. We're gonna go through, we're gonna do all the public input, we're gonna go through and do all the,
We're not at the public input meetings, are we?
you'll be at some of the meetings. There will be different meetings throughout the process.
But not all.
Where the planning commission will be involved in direction, decisions. that kind of stuff, any public
Won't they
hearing.
have a steering committee?
They'll have a steering committee.
So it'd be
which
nice if
involves
like a couple
of the planning commission will be
commissioners are
on
on
that.
So I was on the steering committee for the last one. There was, it's okay. When people ask me, are you stupid? I'm saying situationally. So there were 2 planning commission members, 2 city council members, and a handful of citizens.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Yeah, and we would interact with the, whatever that group was called.
Landmark
Yeah,
design.
yeah. It was a good experience, and I think this will be a good experience too, but hopefully people have longer memories that there was public input and opportunity for it.
Can I ask, is the request from the city council to, I'll just say redo the general plan, is it coming because there's there's a concern that is the city council acknowledging or accepting that there wasn't enough input? Or what is the drive? I guess that's maybe not clear to me.
No, I
You
think you
answered
put it on the
that.
nose.
I have sort of an answer.
I would say that there was enough public outcry from a group of individuals or a group of residents that, I will tell you honestly, I was to the point that I just budgeted the money to redo the plan, and I said, please, let's just redo it. Just,
Like it's not worth the battle.
it is no longer
Right.
worth the division it's creating, not only in our city council with our elected officials, but with the staff, with the abuse from the residents. We just could not make it anywhere, so I recommended to some of the council members, let's just move on. And if this is how we have to move on.
Sure.
Move on. Let's just spend the money and move on.
Are we
So
gonna
it
get, are we
was
gonna
a-
get to that same place again though? Because there's gonna be just as much opposition
Yes.
to the new plan.
That's a very fair point.
There will be. You're not gonna make anybody happy.
Development crowd and I
Yeah.
mean, it's just.
Yeah.
gonna
I mean,
happen.
But it's just a process that we're gonna go through again. So I guess my question back is to the council is, we do have, the council asked that the planning commission look to amending our current plan and taking the trails off.
I think where we're already amending the entire plan, let's do it then. I talked about that last month. I understood the input of some of the public last month, but it's in works, it's happening. We're gonna have professionals involved. We'll get the input about the trails.
Yeah.
I have a hard time amending something that is gonna be obsolete within a very short period of time.
Let me tell you why I think that's sage advice. Here's all the things that we've got to do between now and the end of the year, and I need the planning commission's help on this stuff. We've got to, one, work on these 3 projects that are on our plate now. We've got to create a new DADU ordinance, an exterior dwelling, that by law, that's supposed to be done by September.
Yeah.
We've got to, we've already been charged with creating, making a recommendation on these new moderate income housing ideas. We've been charged with that, and that's not an easy lift. That's gonna be involved. We've got enough work with what we are already committed to doing that I need you to help the staff get these things done. We don't have time to start messing around with amending a general plan that is gonna be rewritten anyway. And so my recommendation to you is make a recommendation to the city council, just let it all happen at once. Don't do anything now to further push back this work that we need to be actively engaged in right now.
And I mean, I think I can speak probably for everyone, is we're willing to work in good faith to press forward the new plan. That's the direction we've gotten. Bids are coming in. They'll vote on who to go with or however that works. We are happy to facilitate that. It seems performative. It seems performative to amend something that's going to be completely obsolete.
Yeah, agreed.
I've let everyone talk. Go for it.
Protocol. I feel like as part of the contracted services, that there should be a heavy emphasis on education aspect of it. If there's gonna
outreach. I feel like, unfortunately and unfairly, Jeff has been villainized and, and there's this propaganda machine out there that is twisting what the actual facts are, or FAQs are.
Sure.
And you see it at these meetings. And so if some sort of third-party entity is performing these things and can somehow establish an authority that look, you may not like it, but, these are the laws, these are the guidelines, these are the things.
I would
the
love a
constraints
like
in
bullet
which-
point of current
Yeah.
law
But-
that's
but
required, just so they
unfortunately,
get what we have to work with.
It's gonna have to be almost like, the Saturday morning thing that we used to see on the cartoons about learning or whatever. It's gonna have to be repeated.
Sure.
Over and over and over again so that it sinks into the community, what that education actually is. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but there needs to be some bullet points and speaking things that
Yeah.
are just reinforced every
Sure.
single time.
No, that's a fair point. Thank you. So yeah, that's what I would.
Is there a motion we need to make just to say to recommend to wait on the trails and do it all at once? Is that what we're?
Yes.
I think you need to make a motion.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion either way if someone has a different approach on
I
their
will
motion.
make a motion to hold off on removing the trails from the general plan until the whole general plan is redone and take the city as a whole. Is that even
That works.
proper English? Okay.
I like it.
I think it works.
Don't worry, Haley is the recorder. She's
Haley,
got us
make it
covered.
sound pretty.
At
Any
10
second?
p.m.
Make
it's
it
great.
sound good.
Mark, is that clear enough to
And then do I have a
take that
second?
back to council?
Yep.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? No. All right. I think that's all of our items, right? Marathon. Well done, everyone. Well done. Just short of 3
We
hours.
should
Huh.
have brought ice cream. That's
I
what we
second
should
it.
have brought.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
just note, I appreciate that we have one person that stayed after that long
Dale.
discussion.
Dale.
I think, this is what I think it's really difficult to understand everything that's going on at the city level without participating. And so when you try to, right, I want to say this for the record, and somebody looks at it on YouTube later, but everybody's left, right? We were talking about moderate income housing. We have 30 things we have to review, and yet everyone's gone. And so.
And they keep saying, why don't you do a general plan on moderate income housing? I'm like, look, the after show is gonna be awesome.
Yes.
If you're into moderate income housing, we're talking about it. But yeah, no, it's a great point, and a reminder for me when I transition to the other side to come back, see you guys.
What about number 10? What are we doing there?
Oh, you mean my favorite motion of the night, the closed meeting? I will entertain my favorite motion of the night to close our meeting.
I second it.
No, I need a motion, sorry, I
Oh,
can't.
did you say a motion? I thought you made a motion.
I'm entertaining, I can't do it myself, sorry.
I have a certain attention span, like junior high children, and then I make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Any second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.